Head to Knoxville, don't be late. Baker's Live, it's gonna be great. June 5th and 6th, mark your date at Dollywood, we'll celebrate. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. Rides, fun, and meet and greet. Baker and pals, the crew's so sweet. Get ready for laughs, cheers, and thrills. Knoxville's the place, it's giving chills. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. June 5th and 6th, don't miss the fun. Meet Baker and friends, it's second to none. Baker and friends, it's second to none.
Hey everyone, welcome back to day 2 afternoon in the Zachary Hughes case. This case has been so little about the defendant that I forget his name. Because so far, he has been mentioned in the opening statements. I think Mr. Post was asked if he knew him, and the sister have been asked if she knew him. So we're 2 days and 14 witnesses yesterday, 2 witnesses, 16, 17 witnesses in, and all we have about the defendant is he knew the father of Christina's child. We haven't even placed him in the city yet. We don't know if he lives there or why they, again, I know DNA, it'll be hard to get by, but still, we haven't heard anything about that DNA so far other than they took nail clippings because she had a broken nail that looked very interesting to the crime scene tech. We know the story about the rose petals being spread around the corpse to kind of be in a ritualistic crime scene is BS, because it wasn't. It was clearly someone had fought with a bouquet of flowers. Saw the pictures of the red stuff. There was a lot of it. 31 stabulation gives you a lot of the red stuff. So far, all the evidence we have is an old lady who claims she saw the defendant outside on his bike, not outside the house, outside, I think it's 4 streets down, and he looked back and scared her, even though she totally misrepresented what clothes he was wearing. But she saw him, clear as day. Then we have video supposedly of him entering the house with a different shirt on, a house that, again, I don't know American door locks because we have a different type. So those weird ones where you have to push that little knobbity knob thing, apparently locks by themselves, but he just walked straight into the house which to me shows some kind of familiarity with the house. If this is the first time he's there, had he been up making sure that the door was open? Again, we know there was an easy access road from the back of the house. She had left the house before that. He could have snuck up to the house, been waiting in the house for her or waiting in the backyard for her. But he just walked up to the front door, walked straight in. We didn't see any fight at the front door. We just saw someone going up to a door and going in. Is there any way to guarantee that that couldn't have been her returning to the house? I don't know. No, she didn't. She wasn't interviewed till 3 years later. She didn't know anything. Big word lady had no knowledge at all. And Jamie and I was talking in the background. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. If I posthumely found out one of them had done the stuff that allegedly happened in that house, I wouldn't have sat there like she was Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, by the way, also was a horrible person. Not many people know that. She's been made a saint later, but she was actually quite a horrible person. Even though she did something for the poor people, she wasn't the greatest. But it was like there was the second coming of Christ with this sister. I wouldn't have fought that hard for my sister's reputation if I found out she had done stuff like that. Defense, sadly, is very lacking in this case. I don't like the defense. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they are strong enough. I don't think they fight enough to get people to say the stuff they don't want to say. Hey, Helen from Holland. Yeah, she was, see you next Tuesday. And she was very, very aggressive. And again, if they were just fighting for the daughter, let's say they were fighting for the daughter and she really thought it would be best for the girl to be with her. She hasn't seen the daughter since 2023. And again, at this point, because it took me 2 seconds to find the headlines about what happened in that house. And apparently the daughter have claimed that the sister also took some pictures, have retracted it later. But why are you fighting that hard for your sister's child, who you didn't see until she was it 5 years old? Is when you saw her the first time, and then this happened when she was 7 years old. And you're fighting her biological dad in court. And the one little funny thing with the magic powder, her sister absolutely never ever, she had never seen her done any blow. Where did the blow come from? She never did drugs. Her sister never did drugs. But there's blow in the house. So did the assailant drop it? Is that what we have to believe? Because when I go on my early morning stabulations, I normally remember my blow, because blow it's not cheap, and I have YouTube money. I'm not YouTube rich, so I don't have the means to just drop bags of it everywhere. It seems kind of weird that the assailant, who is clear-headed enough that he enters through the front door, leaves through the back door, changes his clothes, drops a bag of magic powder, and doesn't think, probably should pick that up. I don't know. I am not entirely sure that this sister was telling the truth. Could be wrong, but let's just say my radar were binging loudly, saying, Something isn't right. Yeah, but if you left it at a house, or if you had it at a house, if you no, you were going to another friend's house and you dropped it, you probably would make sure you picked it up again. That's the problem. They are claiming that it wasn't her and it wasn't the sister's powder. Who else? Well, it can only be the pianist then, who dropped it at the crime scene. I don't find that very believable that this guy who is cold-hearted enough hang around in the neighborhood for an hour, walk straight into the house with no trouble, attacks her with a bouquet of flowers and a stabulator, then drops a baggie, isn't aware of that, but he moves the body around, moves the table, moves the sofa. I just don't buy the story that there were no drug addiction or drug use from either the sister or the victim. I don't believe that, because I can't see that someone would leave a baggie behind. Yeah, I can see that. But she claims she was being tested all the time. I don't know, because we do custody battles differently here than you do. But what happened? Sounded like something happened. But is it normal that you, through years, if there's no reasonable doubt, that you have to piss clean? Zach, I'll end the stream now. There's no reason to stream. I'm just sitting here thinking, is it normal that you'll have to go to your contact person, your liaison, all the time and do drug tests if there's no reason for it? Isn't that an invasion of privacy or something? I just found that very odd that the sister said, well, she kept being drug tested. Maybe it's normal. I don't know. But again, she hadn't been with her sister for a very long time. She didn't know what she did in that period. She didn't know that she might have worked as a lady of the night. But talking about ladies of the night, will they bring in Mello, the ex-husband, to testify? Maybe the defense will do it. Maybe the state will do it. I think they kind of need to do that to help the defendant. I'm not sure. You only have to test if you've been positive for it before, then you have to keep testing. So she must have had some connection with El Droga before. But her sister couldn't believe she did it. But apparently she was also a lady of the night that no one knew about. So, yeah, I don't know. This case, when I saw it, I thought, oh, a ritualistic stabulation. Interesting. And we talked about it in the mod group. Well, some of the mods. And then I looked into it, and we started seeing all of the CP. And we're a day and a half in now, and I have no idea what the state claims happened that day, other than someone was on a bike and someone was at the front door. I really need the DNA. No, she was released, but subject to be recalled. Yeah, apparently she was. The picture that was sent to harass her was from an escort service website. I still need those pictures, Marissa. No, but this case just keeps getting weirder and weirder. It's funny. Ooh. Yeah, but he comes and then he sits down and then he doesn't do anything for 20 minutes. They were supposed to have started 5 minutes ago. I don't know how much you make in Greer, South Carolina. And isn't it highly... doesn't a lot of your income go to your PIMP? It's for research. Why? There's no nefarious motive for that. I needed to see what was sent to intimidate her in the case. It's always, oh, he's just want to look at the boobies. No. But apparently that was when she was 30. So 11 years before this happened, that she was on a website. And that's why I'm thinking they kind of need Mello to come in and testify if they want the CPN. But he's probably not really willing to testify. Hate us.
In our afternoon.
Yeah, well...
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. The state calls Michael Manigault.
I did say boobies, which is a blue-footed bird that lives in South Carolina. The blue-footed booby. Oh, your number is dropping. Welcome back, Pimpinella.
Please stop at the end of the bench.
Was he in a prison outfit as well?
On the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Oh, he's just a lot of
State your name for the
suasion.
record.
Michael Manigault?
Mr. Manigault, do you reside in Greenville County?
Yes, sir.
And where do you live?
Doe Street.
And what do you do for a living?
Currently, I'm a photographer
And how long have you been doing that?
since I was 6 years old.
Back
Is it hearing aids or is it tape? Is that hearing aids? But cool suit, bro.
in 2020, 2021, were you working for John Mello?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do for John Mello?
I was helping clean his house while he was out of town.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
On and off for several months.
And what about October of 2020 through 2021? Was John Mello living in the United States during that time?
I believe so, but I'm not entirely sure because I didn't keep up with all his movements because I was at the time working 2 jobs and I had to keep track of everything going on at once.
Well, how did y'all communicate?
Text messages or video chats.
All right. And so he would text you and ask you to do things?
I was saying work when I was telling shit, sir.
Okay. And what kind of things would he ask you to do?
Yard work, cleaning up. If he was moving back to Italy, he was helping me clean his house up to get ready for sale.
And what about...
He must be hard of hearing. I have a very hard time hearing what he's saying. I think he might have been very close to deaf, and so that's why he can't enunciate correctly.
And how would he pay you?
Cash.
And where was this location?
Isn't it set up?
It was on Blake Street.
Now, back in 2020, 2021, did you meet Zach Hughes?
I met him while John was in Italy, and I did a little work around the house with Zach. That's about all I did with him.
So how did you meet Zach?
Through John.
Through John, and then did you and Zach work together?
On and off throughout a couple of days, yes, sir.
And where would y'all work together at?
At the house.
At the Blake Street house?
Yes, sir.
And how
Because she said she saw him before he put on the mask. But then she went on to totally misstate his outfit.
how long did you do that with Zach?
I think he's deaf and it's his hearing aids.
About 2 weeks to everything with them. We were doing mostly outside work, a little bit inside, cleaning up around the house on the inside.
And then after October 13th, 2021, did you ever talk with investigators?
I was pulled over. I will get off the bus. I was stopped by 2 investigators at the vape store on Lawrence Road, taken back to the county. That when I was there, questioned if I had any involvement in the crime that I did not know I committed at the time.
Okay. And was that Detective Sparkman and Master Deputy Wolf? Do you recognize
Yes,
them?
sir.
And what did you tell them?
I had no idea the crime was committed. I willingly gave them my phone to go through it so they could track everything. I gave them all the access codes, everything. So I had
You
no.
voluntarily handed over your phone?
Yes, sir.
And what about, did you voluntarily give them your DNA? Did they swab your mouth?
I don't recall.
And did they ask you about any other associates that John Mello may have?
No, sir. Not to my recollection.
Well, did you not tell them about Zach Hughes?
I knew Zach Hughes, but that's to the point where I only knew Zach Hughes because of John Mello. I didn't know him before that or during the fact, after the fact.
No, but did you tell these investigators?
That I worked with Zach Hughes, yes, sir.
You told them, the investigators, that you worked with Zach Hughes?
Briefly, not for a long period of time.
Problem is my lungs are hurting whenever I cough, but I'm not as feverish as yesterday.
Did you tell them that you knew Zach Hughes through John Mello?
I would object to leading.
Yeah, very leading.
What did you tell them about
I only knew Zach
John Mello and
Hughes.
Zach Hughes?
I only know John Mello. I knew John Mello for years. I knew Zach Hughes for a brief period of time. This whole situation, I had no idea about the murder, none of that stuff.
Absolutely. But did you tell investigators?
I only knew Mello. I only knew Zach Hughes
This is the first witness.
through John Mello briefly. After we stopped working together, that's the last time I talked to him.
Thank you, Mr. Nagle.
Just to make sure I understand this, you knew Zach for just a total of about 2 weeks, is that right?
Yes, sir. He's a good man, in my opinion. I know that's off record.
That's off record. No, it's on record now, brother.
I think that's all. Thank you.
Jamie is late. It's off record. This is like the one who pled the fifth if she had a sexual relationship with a guy. I plead the fifth. You can't really do that. I like his outfit. I think it takes a lot of man to...
You're on the state calls
Master
Master Deputy Blake Wolf.
Every girl is crazy by a sharp-dressed man. But all he had to say, they worked together at Mello's house.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I love Baker's off the record. Off the record, I like this message from Danny T.
Blake Wolf.
All right, Master Deputy Wolf, who do you work for?
The Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been working with them?
I began working with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office in 2019. Before that, I was employed by the Greenville County Department of Public Safety for 7 years.
And what do you currently do for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office?
I'm a master deputy assigned to Bravo Platoon.
Were you ever in homicide?
Yes, sir.
How long were you in homicide?
A little over 3 years.
Did you get involved in this case back in October 13th of 2021?
Yes, sir, I did.
Tell us, Jerry, how you got involved in this case.
I was asked to co-lead this case with Investigator Sparkman on October 15th. When Miss Parcell was murdered, I was involved in another case. We concluded that case on the 14th, and then I was asked to assist with this case on the 15th.
Okay, so on the 15th, did you head out to the scene?
No, sir.
What did you do on the 15th?
So the first thing I was asked to do is a Google geofence search warrant for the location where Miss Parcell was murdered.
And what is a Google geofence?
So if you have any Google apps on your cell phone and allow them to store your location data, we can find out, we can get access to that data through Google. So when we have a location where a murder occurred, we can send them a search warrant for that location, a specific radius around that location for a time frame. And if any devices were in that radius, they will let us know. But that only applies to people who allow them to track their location data.
And did you recover anything of significance from those efforts?
No, sir.
All right, so what else did you start doing involved in this case?
On October 19th and the 20th, I went back out to the Canebrake neighborhood and continued canvassing the area for potential witnesses or additional security footage.
So we heard Master Deputy Stokes talk about canvassing this neighborhood. Were you doing sort of the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all do it 2 separate times?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
People are at home. People come and go. You know, her murder happened earlier in the day. People could have been at work. So we go at, you know, usually more than once at different times just to try to catch people when they're at home.
And in doing so, did you talk with Donna Gorman?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, about when did you talk to her?
That would be the afternoon of October 20th.
And at that time, had y'all obtained Ring cameras and video footage related to this case?
Yes, sir, we had.
And did you show her a copy of the individual that was on a bike at that time?
No, I did not.
Did anybody else speak with Donna Gorman?
Investigator Riley Stokes.
And do you know when he spoke with her?
The day of Miss Parcell's murder.
All right. And about when did you obtain video footage of a suspect leaving on a bicycle?
October 14th, I believe.
All right. So after you continued to canvass the neighborhood, what did you do?
I made contact with Miss Gorman and spoke with her.
And then after that, what did you do?
After that, it was on October 22nd that myself and Investigator Sparkman learned that Michael Manigault is somebody that was familiar with John Mello, and it was suggested that we speak with him.
Did you, in fact, try to go and locate Michael Manigault?
Yes, sir.
All right. And where did you locate him?
So we were told that he rides the Greenlink buses, so we went around to some of their bus stops and we located him getting off a bus on Lawrence Road.
And did you speak with him?
Yes, sir, we did.
Was that the gentleman who just testified?
Yes, sir, it was.
And did you have the occasion to obtain a DNA sample from him?
Yes, sir, he gave consent.
And where did you take that sample?
It was in the CID interview room in the homicide office.
Did y'all carry him down there, or did he meet y'all there?
No, he doesn't have a vehicle, so he rode in Investigator Sparkman's SUV.
And down there, did you take a buccal swab sample?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 111. Ask you if you recognize that.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
This is the packaging for the buccal swab that I collected from Mr. Manigault.
All right. And you like to open it?
Yes.
See what's inside of it. And inside State's Exhibit 11.
Yes, sir. This is the buccal swab I collected.
It's my video because the camera keeps changing, so I didn't fiddle around with the settings. You look pale. Are you sick?
From Mr. Manigault, 2 of them.
See, now it looked red again. Oh, we do that all the time.
Now,
He's
what
never
did you
gonna
do
watch
with
this
those
show.
swaps?
It's okay.
I placed them into our property net interim.
Now, after you spoke with Mr. Manigault, what did you do?
I began researching Zachary Hughes.
And so how would you go about doing that?
So I started, I just did a basic Google search of Zachary Hughes, Greenville, South Carolina.
And what'd you find?
I found,
Your Honor, may we approach?
so I began by just doing a,
Now, what did you do with those bulk swaps?
I placed them into our property net interim.
Now, after you spoke with Mr. Manigault, what did you do?
I began researching Zachary Hughes.
And so how would you go about doing that?
So I started, I just did a basic Google search of Zachary Hughes, Greenville, South Carolina.
And what'd you find?
I found,
Your Honor, may we approach?
Oh, so I didn't.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Master Deputy Wolf, in trying to locate Zachary David Hughes, what did you do?
So I began by just doing a basic Google search of something along the lines of Zachary Hughes, Greenville, South Carolina. The first thing I noticed is there were several articles online about him being a pianist, being famous for being able to play music by memory.
And then once you had that information, what did you do?
So then I logged into my South Carolina DMV online account and I obtained a picture of Mr. Hughes's driver's license, his DMV photo. I showed that photo to Mr. Manigault just to confirm that I was looking at the same Zachary Hughes that he was referring to.
Was it confirmed?
Yes, sir.
So once you've confirmed
I don't know.
the person that you're looking into, what did you do next?
I don't. He just went to him. They just felt. Yeah, we're going to look at him. Might be divine intervention. It might have been. We skipped a step. That's why I went back because I didn't get when they started looking at him.
Well, I continued to look at his DMV online account, and one thing that I found was important is the address on his driver's license was 200 Tyndall Avenue. 200 Tyndall Avenue is located within the city limits of Greenville. A few months prior to Ms. Parcell's murder, the Greenville Police Department had installed traffic cameras around the city. So since he lived in the city, I believed if he had a vehicle, there would be some photos on these traffic cameras of his vehicle. So also using my South Carolina DMV online account, I found that he had a gold 1999 Ford Ranger registered to his name. So the city uses a traffic camera system, some people call them license plate readers, LPRs for short, called Flock. When you pass a Flock camera, it takes a picture of your license plate in the back right side of your vehicle, and then it goes into a database that's searchable. So once I had Mr. Hughes's license plate from the DMV, I entered it into the Flock system. At that time, Flock had a retention period of 90 days, and I found 55 images of Mr. Hughes's vehicle.
Now explain this, Jerry. So how many flock cameras are there around Greenville County?
At that time, they were just in the city, I would say maybe 10 to 15.
Okay, so we only had 10 to 15 cameras in the city limits.
Yes, the county had not yet employed any Flock cameras.
And now you say you have access to this flock camera system. Is this a nationwide system or a local system?
Yes, so Flock is a national company. They sell these traffic cameras to law enforcement agencies across the country.
All right, so after you searched a car registered to Zach Hughes, what'd you find?
So I found the 55 images of his vehicle during that 90-day retention period. I found 2 images the day of Miss Parcell's murder.
But he was on a bike.
Yeah, what time was he? Let's go.
I'm looking for a guy in a gold car because someone saw someone on a bike at the crime scene.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did I have a stroke? Did I fall asleep? Did I miss something? When did they start looking at Zach, and why are they looking at his car?
Yeah, when they become a person of interest, like Jess said. When? And why?
Tell me why.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a suspect. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a cyclist. Tell me why. Got a cold car and you must be whack. Killing that Jack. Yeah, but the deaf kid didn't say anything other than he worked with him. What did that have to do with anything?
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 114 and 115. I'm ask you if you recognize those.
Yes, sir. These are the flock pictures of Mr. Hughes' vehicle on October 13th, 21.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibits 114 and 115 into evidence.
No objection.
114 and 115.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm showing you States Exhibit 114. Can you tell the jury what's in this photo and the time and date?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's the bike.
This is a photo of
That's the bike,
Mr.
Jamie.
Hughes's 1999 Ford Ranger. It was captured at 2:31 p.m. on October 13th at the Bunkman-Rutherford intersection. And then you can see a black bicycle in the bed of his truck.
There's that bike.
2:31 in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Why was this significant?
Because we had the video of a suspect leaving the crime scene on a black bike.
He wasn't leaving the crime scene.
I'm going to show you
He
what
was just in the
States
area.
Exhibit
Yeah.
102.
And for those of you who don't read real numbers, this is at 2:31 in the afternoon. So 5 hours after it allegedly happened.
Leaving the crime scene on a black bike.
I'm going to show you what's States Exhibit 102. Was this what you were trying to compare it to?
Yes, sir.
And what was your conclusions?
My conclusion is that there's a lot of similarities between the bike in the photo you were holding up and the bike in the bed of Mr. Hughes' truck.
No. Well, they could tell by his shoulders he was a white guy.
Exhibit 115. What is that?
That is another flock camera of Mr. Hughes' vehicle at night. Lawrence in East Washington.
And again, for those of you who don't read real numbers, this is 7:30 at night. So now we are at 10 hours after it happened.
7:30 on the same day.
But you can't really see anything.
No, sir.
So as a result of that, what did you do?
So after learning this information, I acquired search warrants for 200 Tyndall Avenue, Mr. Hughes' truck, his DNA, and his cell phone.
Now,
I can't see 2 to 3 weeks for this trial. This is the co-lead detective. I can't see it.
Did you, after talking with Mr. Manigault and your independent research, did you learn where John Mello lived or had a house at the time?
Yes, sir.
And where is that?
So he has a house here in Greenville in 12 Blake Street.
And did you also look into the location of Mr. Mello at this particular time?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to confirm where he wasn't?
Yes. We obviously had to consider him as a potential suspect. We were told at the beginning he was potentially in Italy, so we had to confirm that.
And were you able to confirm that?
Yes, sir.
So you went and got a search warrant for 200 Tyndall.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all go out to 200 Tyndall?
Yes, sir, we did.
And did you execute a search warrant on that house?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. Tell this jury how that occurred.
So we started by meeting at a predetermined location a few miles from the address, and we had a deputy in a unmarked vehicle drive by the house to make sure Mr. Hughes was going to be there. Mr. Hughes was actually leaving the driveway at that time, so we waited at our predetermined location until he returned. Once he returned, we went to the house to execute the search warrant.
And did you learn who, now, did the defendant own this house?
No, sir.
Did you discover or learn who the owners of this house were?
Yes, sir.
And who was that?
Jeanette and Marshall Lynn.
So how many individuals arrived on which day was this?
This would have been October 22nd.
Okay. So October 22nd.
Yes, sir.
So about 9 days after the murder.
Yes, sir.
So tell us what happened when y'all arrived.
So when we arrived, we sent deputies to the front of the house and then to the back of the house. Their driveway is located behind the house. You have to go down a side street to get to it. And I was one of the deputies that went to the back of the house. I parked directly behind Mr. Hughes's Ford Ranger. When we exited our vehicles, he was standing inside the house right in front of a double French door. When I first observed him, he already had his hands up. So,
And did he have a cell phone?
yes, sir, he did.
Where was the cell phone?
It was in his hand.
And did you approach him or did he come out?
No, we called him out to us. Yes, sir.
And what did he do when you called him out?
He complied.
And what did he do with the cell phone?
He put it down on the table he was standing beside, just almost directly inside the French doors.
Did you secure that cell phone?
Yes, sir.
How did you do that?
It was collected by another deputy and then transported to be downloaded.
And where did they take that cell phone from?
The kitchen table. Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 112. So you recognize this?
Yes, sir. This is the cell phone that we collected that belonged to Mr. Hughes.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 112 in evidence.
So now we're going to get cell phone extractions.
No objection, Your Honor.
That's one, two.
So,
Don't unalive yourself or the neighbors.
116, 117, and 118. Ask if you recognize this.
Yes, sir. These are photos of 200 Tyndall Avenue.
Your Honor, State moves 116, 117, 118 in evidence.
No objection.
116, 117, and 118, United States.
So, let me show you State's Exhibit 117. What is that?
That is the front door if you're on Tyndall Avenue and you're facing the front of their house.
And was that where Zach Hughes was standing?
No, sir.
Tinder Avenue?
State's Exhibit 116. What about that?
That is the back side of the residence that leads to the area where we were parked.
And where was Mr. Hughes standing when you?
You can kind of see the French doors through the bushes there, but he was standing there. Yes, sir.
All right, so did y'all effectuate the search warrant?
Yes, sir.
And did you, so what, at this point, what is important to your investigation?
So at this point, we knew Miss Parcell was killed with a sharp force object, so we're looking for any type of knife, screwdriver, anything of those means, clothing, book bag, a bicycle, things like that.
And did y'all search the house looking for those items?
Yes, sir, we did.
What about who was there, who was living there during the time of the murder?
Mr. Hughes was living at the residence. I assume the Winds.
Were they there on October 13th?
No.
How do you know that?
When we were able to access Mr. Hughes' cell phone, he was receiving pictures from the Winds while they were in Europe.
And did you talk to the Winds when y'all were executing the search warrant?
Investigator Sparkman and I did, yes.
Were they compliant?
Yes, sir.
In terms of looking for a bike, did y'all locate one?
Yes, sir, we did.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibits 119 through 125. I'm going to ask you to look at.
Yeah, this is a thing you could also say. It's not that uncommon if you're a mountain biker who doesn't want to ride on your gravel or your wood tires on the road because it's not a pleasant ride. So maybe this guy they saw on the bike was just riding the trails behind the house and had his car stashed nearby and dumped the mountain bike at the car. Could be a great explanation. My brother-in-law and his friends, they used to ride bikes north of Copenhagen and all lived in Copenhagen. So they got together, put all their bikes in a car and rode out to the forest where they biked around for an hour.
State's Exhibits 119 through 125 and ask you if you recognize those.
Well, tires to drive in the woods. It's going to be interesting to see what they found.
Yes, sir, I recognize these photos.
No, you never blocked Really Key Revo.
I apologize. I'm going to backtrack 2 seconds. Forgot one of my exhibits. But I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit.
I just got the new one.
I need a number.
That's a cool one.
We show you State's Exhibit 132. You recognize this?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So that is a photo of Mr. Hughes' vehicle with the bike in the bed of the truck on the day of Miss Parcell's murder. And then that is just a Google image of the Buncombe and Rutherford area where the camera is placed.
Okay. State moves 132 in evidence. Okay.
42 comes in that.
This is the new wildflower.
210. Did y'all focus on the garage at some point?
Yes, sir, we did.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 119. Is that the garage?
Yes, sir.
Are these in evidence? I'm not sure.
Oh.
He was getting ready to.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
The other thing.
All right.
It's 119 through 125.
119 to 125.
Defense position. No objection. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We like a clean record.
I understand. Thank you. A lot of exhibits, it gets confusing.
Ton.
All right, I'll show you State's Exhibit 119. And you said that's the garage?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all enter inside the garage?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 120. And what'd you find inside?
We found several bicycles inside the garage.
Okay. Were some bikes?
Oh, several
well,
bicycles.
explain the different bikes that you found inside.
So there's some bikes, as you can see to the upper left of this vehicle that's, mounted on the wall. Several on the ground as well near that vehicle that were just dirty, dusty, looked like they'd just been sitting in a garage for a long period of time. They're not used regularly. And then to the right of that vehicle, you can see there's a bike sitting upside down on its handlebars and seat. That's a black bike that was very similar to the other two images we had. And it was pristine condition, perfectly clean.
All right, so I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 121 what are the bikes on the left there, or in this little?
Those are just some of the other bikes, the dirtier bikes that we found in the garage.
Did those bikes look like they had been ridden?
No, sir. Some of them had cobwebs on them.
All right, and I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 123.
Yes, sir. That is the black bike that I mentioned earlier that was sitting upside down and was just very, very clean.
When you say very, very clean, what do you mean?
So
Does any of you ride a bike? Do any of you ride a bike in the woods? I don't know, Kono, if that's a decent priced mountain bike, but it's totally normal that you'll clean your bike when you come home from a ride, because you don't want all the grime and stuff to stick to the bike, especially your chain and stuff like that. Well, Danny, everything you own has log poop on it.
I mean, growing up, we had bikes, and then as I got older in my young adult life, I got a ton of different bikes.
Yeah, but you it's not uncommon that you clean your bike after you have ridden it in.
No, because we used to
in the
ride
woods.
in mud, and like if you don't get it off right then and there, it hardens and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and I don't know how it is well, there was no snow there, so there couldn't have been any salt in South Carolina, but still, this to me doesn't scream, oh, he must have cleaned it to hide the evidence, because he didn't kill her with a bike.
Yeah, he didn't ride through the crime scene with a bike.
I think some people do to maintain the chain if they don't have somewhere to hang it.
compared to everything else in this garage, it's just a dirty, dusty garage. Things sit there and collect dust and dirt. And this bike looked like it just rolled off the showroom floor.
This is what drives me nuts. You stop.
This was just like picked up at Walmart 2
Look
hours
at he
before.
just got it yesterday. Look at it. It's so shiny and new. So it had to be a murder weapon. The murder getaway vehicle.
Yeah, he also changed his clothes.
Yeah.
So why should he? Again, these tires aren't for riding in the woods. These are road tires.
Yeah, but what do we know the history of his bike riding? Maybe he.
Yes, sir, I do.
What is this?
This is the bike
an
that was
avid
seized
bike
from the
rider.
garage at 200 Tyndall.
Yeah.
Statement is 133 in evidence.
Go, Jeff.
Not objection, when it comes in.
Now, did you do any comparison with this bike and the other photos?
Yes, sir.
And what did you conclude?
There's
Yeah, and again, if this guy rides a bicycle to get exercise, again, this is during the coof. A lot of people did a lot of things to get out the house during the coof. Yeah, maybe his bike is the only thing being moved because the family, the house owners were in Europe. So maybe his bike was the only thing being moved in the garage.
Yeah.
a lot of similarities, such
And
as
you know it doesn't
the
take
frame of
gas,
the
a
bike,
bike.
the shape of the
So if you can
handlebars,
get around
the
town
placement of the
cheap,
brakes.
then why not?
And you compared it to the photos from the ring cameras?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there must be some evidence of a large transaction or something.
So, once y'all concluded the search of 200 Tyndall, what did you do next?
The Ford Ranger was taken back to the crime scene unit's office, so I responded there while a forensic technician processed the vehicle.
Why?
And then once you concluded that search warrant, were you able to locate another location that may be important in this case?
Yes, sir.
Tell us
So-
a story about that.
Through phone location, we located a residence on Indian Flats Trail in Marietta that was also owned by Jeanette Wynn.
And did y'all in fact go up to Indian Flats Trail?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. And did y'all get a search warrant for that?
Yes, sir.
And when did you get that search warrant?
It was in April of 2023.
Why did it take so long?
The location data from his cell phone, we did not have his password, so the initial downloads were only partials.
So when you obtained information that Zach Hughes might have been at that location, you obtained a search warrant?
Yes, sir.
So where is Indian Flats?
It's in the northern area of Greenville County.
And so how long do you think drive-wise would it take to get there?
About an hour.
All right.
Nope.
So when did you go up there to serve a search warrant?
It was in April of 23, I believe April 14th, but I could be wrong on that day.
And who went with you?
Most of the homicide unit.
Most of the homicide unit?
Yes, sir.
And what were you looking for?
So at this point, we still had not recovered a murder weapon or clothing that Mr. Hughes or the suspect was wearing at the time of the murder.
These are not, I don't have numbers on these.
We haven't been seen them yet, but there should be a lot of WhatsApp messages between them. Yeah, the sister of the deceased was, she was kind of as mean as Jamie.
Don't even. She's not even on my level. She's an a-hole.
Takes one to know one. Well, they can't really force you.
Master Deputy Wolf, I'm going to show you 130, States Exhibits 134 through 139. Ask if you recognize those.
Yes, sir, I do. These are photos of the Windsor residents on Indian Flat Trail.
State moves 134 through 139. No objection. All right, I'm going to show you States Exhibit 134. What is that?
That is the front of their residence there, and then on the tree on the right side you can see a trail or deer camera.
Is that we're referring to right there?
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as location or seclusion related to this house, how would you, where would you compare this house?
This is in the middle of the woods on a mountain. You could walk around naked and there's nobody to see you.
So there's no neighbors near you?
No,
Nobody?
nobody.
Now, did y'all walk all around this house and
Yes, sir.
look at different locations? I'm going to show you States Exhibit 137. What is that?
That's a fire pit or burn pit there on their property.
I guess what you can do there is burn things.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm going to show you States Exhibit 139.
That is just one of the closets that was full of cleaning materials.
Now, did y'all search the entire house
Yes, sir, we did.
and the surrounding areas?
Yes, sir.
How deep did y'all go into the woods?
Pretty good bit.
Did y'all ever locate anything?
No, sir.
What about that trail camera?
That was seized under the search warrant, and then I obtained another search warrant for the SD card contained within it.
So what is a trail camera? Do you know?
Yes, sir. Most people just use them to take pictures of animals. Some people that hunt put them up in the woods to see, what's in that area. Most of them are motion activated.
Did you seize that trail camera?
Yes, sir.
And did you? What did you do with it after you seized it?
I took it back to our office.
And were you able to look at any photos on the trail camera?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
So the camera contained an SD card. I got a separate search warrant to remove the photos or search the SD card. After that, you just plug that SD card into any SD card reader, and all the pictures are there.
And were you able to look at any photos on this trail camera?
Yes, sir, I was.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 140. Ask if you recognize it.
Yes, sir. This is the trail camera we seized from that tree on Indian Flats Trail in Marietta.
State moves at 140.
No objection. No objection.
And you were able to locate some photos on that trail camera?
Yes, sir.
All right. What were those photos of?
Zachary Hughes.
Doing what?
Interesting. What did he do on those photos?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you state's exhibits 141 through 145. Ask if you recognize those.
Yes, sir. These are photos of Mr. Hughes that were recovered from that trail camera.
State moves 141 through 145.
No objection. No objection. 145.
I don't know.
I'm going to show you state's exhibit 145. What is that?
That's a photo of Mr. Hughes.
All right, what is the date of that photo?
October 11th,
About what time?
a little after 10 a.m.
Was that 2 days before the murder?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything significant on here?
Yes, sir. The hoodie or jacket that he is wearing is significant.
Why is that?
Why is
So you
that?
can see the outside is black. We have the individual on the bicycle riding away on a black hoodie, but you can also tell the top being folded out. The inside is a grayish color. The person who entered her house was wearing a gray jacket.
So you,
What? You thinking he turned it on inside out?
yeah,
What the actual F? Show me the shirt is completely gray. First of all,
105.
can you tell that the guy has a full gray shirt
this
on?
the photo
and
that
he's
you're
coming
referring
in the
to?
house?
Yes, sir, it is.
And is this what is this photo?
It's a photo of a person entering her house shortly before she was killed.
And
You know how crappy
What
that
color is
picture
this
is?
Right.
You had to pinch and zoom.
let me show you
Oh
state's
my gosh.
exhibit
this is ridiculous.
141.
this is worse than I thought.
Um,
That
The
shirt
inside
is
white. It looks white. It doesn't look
I
gray.
don't know what you would call it. It's shaved on the side with looks like a long ponytail in the back.
and
Like, it could just be the
Hold on,
hood. How do you
let-
know?
and again,
And they don't have the shirt, so they have no idea. They're just assuming.
yeah, and to me this isn't a black shirt, it's a blue shirt.
It looks
It's-
blue. Yeah.
It's what we call navy blue in Denmark. It's a dark blue shirt with a white lining, but there's also big white straps to tie the hoodie. We didn't see that on the bike rider.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember seeing the strings, the white
Yeah,
strings.
the strings would be very, very visible when on that camera because it's white.
And
It's,
the hood, if he had it on that way and they're claiming it's black, you would see the white in the hood. Did you see the white in the hood? Because I don't remember seeing white in the hood.
no, because he had his beanie on and then the hood was down. That was black.
Yeah, the hood was down. It was black. So what are you talking about?
And I bet you dollars to donuts. This one is something you can pull off the rack at Walmart. There's probably a small estimated guess, more than 10,000 of these hoodies sold in America. There's maybe even 10,000 sold in South Carolina. I don't know how many people live in South Carolina. Sue lives there. But
Because that would pop right out in that picture of that guy on a black, because he looks like he literally is wearing all black, like black shirt, black pants, and he's just got that gray beanie on. If he had a white hood sticking out, that would have been very apparent.
Yeah, I'll have to go to the Discord and see if any of the pictures was uploaded. We can try and compare them.
Your right arm is carrying something.
Left.
And then States Exhibits 142. Is that
Another picture of Mr. Hughes.
another picture? And again, this is on what date?
The same date, October 11th.
No.
And then finally, States Exhibit 144.
So, zoomed in picture
I
of
hope-
Mr. Hughes on the same date.
I hope
So
the
that would be what
defense
Mr.
is
Hughes looked
smart
like on
enough to point that out. I hope they're smart enough to point that out. Like, here's a picture of the guy you have on the bike, and here's this guy. Here's him with that jacket that you're claiming is the same jacket.
And again, let's say he closed up the shirt completely. You would still have this big white mess around his neck when he was riding the bike, plus 2 strings flailing in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jemima. Jemima just shared the picture. I'm no picturologist. Is this the same shirt?
That does not look like the same shirt at all. First of all, that shirt that he's got on looks like a skin tight, like, you know, like maybe like the dry fit riding, like jackets that people wear. That's like
Yeah.
a loose jacket. And the white pops out. So
And I don't know enough about Kono bikes to could tell if this could be a Kono bike. I've never seen that brand before. But yes, this looks like one of those soft shell jackets you ride when you're out when it's a little too cold to ride in your normal Lycra, and you just put on a little soft shell jacket. This is very tight in the sleeves. There's no big white area up here. There's no white
there's
strings.
no white strings, yeah.
Let's go back and look at this one. The arms are very puffy. This would stand out like a whore in church.
Yeah, and he's really, I mean, he's not like that guy on the bike looks a lot skinnier, in my opinion, but
I think that's because this jacket is puffy. He's a little twinkie.
yeah, I
11th
mean,
of
he looks like
2021.
a skinny guy, but does not look like the same outfit at all, you dummies. Like,
Oh, and remember how they said it was this guy yesterday? Because in this picture they could kind of see that he had a shadow of a beard here. He didn't have a beard in that picture we just saw. This was 2 days before. I don't know. I can't grow a beard. It takes me forever because I'm blonde. But you can't grow a beard in 2 days.
I mean, yeah, I don't grow a beard, but it seems like, yeah, it would take a little longer.
Yeah, but they claimed that you could see the scruff of a beard around the side of the... Jamie, this is worse than we thought.
Well, him sitting up there in front of our faces saying this is the same shirt he was wearing and he just turned it inside out is absolute bullcrap.
Yeah, and one is black and again, it could be the resolution on the cameras, but still, one is clearly navy blue.
Just a couple more questions. Master Deputy, approximately how far from that
Yeah, and he
mountain
worked for
house
Mello.
to the Canebrake location would it take to drive?
We don't know. We haven't heard anything about that yet. We don't even know if DNA was found under her fingernails so far.
How many flock photos did you locate of Zach Hughes' car when you did the search?
55.
Right. And of all those photos, how many did you find his car with a bike in the back?
Just one.
And what date was that?
October 13th of 2021.
So
Thank
you
you.
didn't even see
Answer
him
any questions,
drive
Defense
out
Counsel.
there with the
Yes,
bike
sir.
on it?
Yeah.
You testified that one of the reasons why you thought that the other bikes in the wind garage had not been ridden was you saw cobwebs on them, right?
Yes, sir.
Honestly,
Oh,
that
see,
bike
how
doesn't
was
even
this
look
bike?
like
You
the
didn't ride
same
this bike?
bike.
No,
Did you ride this bike over from the Peony?
no, sir.
Okay. You talked about cleaning supplies. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
A house.
Do you have cleaning supplies in your house?
Yes, sir.
You got them in a closet?
In the closet under sinks.
Yeah, that's just a stupid thing. Oh, you have cleaning supplies. Guilty. I don't clean that much, but I have cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
You talked about
It's a very low resolution, and I can't tell. I don't know if there's any specific way to recognize a Kono bike.
Like the one the guy is in the pictures riding looks a lot like, it doesn't look girthy like a fancy bike, you know. It looked kind of like cheap and.
No, it could be a crossover that's very lightweight, because expensive bikes is like that. If you use it primarily to road biking, so you keep the weight down. But I don't know if the frames. And again, it's really hard to, because the ring camera is such a low quality that you would have to clean it up, and they zoomed in. And when you zoom in on such a low quality, the camera starts guessing what colors and shapes you are seeing. So it's not the real picture. Pins to zoom if anyone watched Rittenhouse.
Was in Italy. Is it true he was in Italy and with Aida from October of 2020 until April of 2021? Isn't that true?
And to the best of my knowledge, yes, sir.
You said a word I want to make sure I understand. You said that you could be at the Wind Mountain House and you could be what and nobody could see?
You could walk around naked.
Okay.
I can walk around naked
Talk
in my
about.
house. It's the white shoulders.
Let me show you State Exhibit 144. Take a look at this.
Yes, sir.
Deputy Wolf, is it true in 144, that picture shows a person who's clean shaven?
It's hard to tell. There's a bit of a shadow in the net.
Can you see
Oh
a
my
beard on
God.
that man?
No.
Okay.
It's hard to tell. Can you see a bit? No.
No.
Don't get
When
defensive.
you went to 200 Tyndall to execute that search warrant, did you go by yourself?
No, sir.
Okay. There were numerous police officers on scene, isn't that right?
Yes.
Right. And some of those police officers were armed, is that right?
They're police officers. Everyone's armed.
Right. And you talked about how the winds complied that day, isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true, my client, Mr. Hughes, complied, didn't he, that day?
Yes, sir, we did.
So you testified in 2021 you were working in homicide, is that correct?
I was up there for a brief period of time to assist them. Yes, sir.
And you said you're back on.
I think it's the way you spelled the things that Nightbot picked it up as a link.
On the road down Bravo.
Because you put all the
Yes.
Are you a
punctuations in
supervisor
there.
in Bravo platoon?
I'm a master deputy. I have several deputy twos that work under me as supervisor. Yes.
Okay. And is there a sergeant over that platoon as well?
Remember, it's in 2021 where we had the coup.
There is.
So how long, so I need to be clear, were you ever assigned to homicide?
Yes,
How long were you there?
3 years.
And now you're back on the road, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You heard, were you in the courtroom when Deputy Riley Stokes testified?
Yes, sir.
And you heard his testimony about the videos that were obtained from residences in King Creek, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true, and I want to say it's 8:45 or 9 o'clock, something like that. Well, let me ask this. Do you recall when he said the first video was that was significant? The first time he saw any vehicle tracker or anything?
I remember him talking about that, but I don't remember the time frame of that video.
Isn't it true though that
Probably.
one second?
Get it together, defense. You're driving me crazy.
Yeah, they're so wrong.
What was the date of that photo that he showed you regarding the beard that Mr. Mormon showed you?
October 11th of 2021.
2 days before the murder?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And just recross. You just testified on my cross-examination that you did not see a beard in that photo. Is that correct?
You can just see a shadow on his face. That's
Okay,
it.
this is my question to you. Did you not just testify that you couldn't see a beard in that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Can you reread? Correct.
No, Your Honor.
You may step down.
This defense is so bad.
Oh my god, they drive me crazy.
State will recall Kalen
Point
Ford.
out that the hoodie is not the same hoodie.
Yeah, why didn't you talk about that one?
I mean, they got the beard thing fine. That's. And I think the more obvious thing was the hoodie.
Yeah. If they're claiming it's the same hoodie, they should explain why it's not the same color.
And looks the same, and where's the white?
We are getting the crime scene back. The Egyptian eyes.
Ms. Ford, hello again.
Hello.
We've gone through your background for the jury, but were you still involved in this case at the time that the home on Tyndall was being processed by law enforcement?
Yes.
So when you were involved, were you doing essentially the same procedure, same duties as you were at the Canebrake home?
Yes.
Okay. And were you tasked of going through the Tyndall home and taking photographs of that home?
I was.
Were you able to identify the rooms of the house?
Yes.
Were you able to identify which room was the defendant's room?
Yes.
How?
The homeowner stated it, and he had personal belongings in that room that were observed as well.
Okay. If I showed you pictures that you took in that room, would you recognize them?
Yes.
I'm wearing a dark hoodie. I could be the dark guy. Not the dark guy, the bad guy. I couldn't be a dark guy. I'm as pale as milk. Keep it moving. What's happening? Nothing's happening. Yeah. Because my hoodie is black all the way through.
Showing you what is State's Exhibits 126 through 131.
Yes, I took these photographs.
All right, this time the state would move into evidence, State's Exhibit 126 through 131.
No objection.
Objection, 126 to 131.
I'm just going to go through these with you up here. What is 126?
So this is a photograph of a shoebox that had been located inside of his bedroom that contained multiple knives and sheaths.
Oh, did they find the stabulator with blood on it?
127?
It's a photograph from his bedroom. There was a storage bin that had the name Zach on the top.
How is that spelled, Zach?
Z-A-C-K.
I don't think he's that. I don't know if he was home because of the coup or whatever, but he was working as a handyman for that Mellow guy. So I don't know how much his career was working. No,
29?
because we went straight
This
from
photograph shows a
from that
backpack and a
to
pair of gloves along
traffic
with other
cams.
miscellaneous items in the bedroom.
So because he had a bunch of knives, he is now.
the house in the woods is where he stayed with the couple.
Were you involved at all with
That
the
was
processing
2 days
of the
prior,
bicycle
so-
that was recovered?
Yeah, he was walking around in the woods
Tyndall address.
2 days
Yes.
prior.
And how specifically were you involved in the processing of that bicycle?
Once the bicycle was located in the garage, I photographed it. I then sprayed the bicycle with Blue Star and took swabs of different areas of the bike before it was actually collected.
That's really stupid. Blue Star ruins DNA evidence.
It does.
Blue Star.
Blue Star is a presumptive reagent, a chemical reaction that can show the presence of blood.
Well, that is the defendant, but the defendant, the question is the one on the bike.
Are there any significant findings as a result of spraying the Blue Star?
The bike illuminated on the handles, the seat, and the pedals.
Okay. What did you do thereafter as far as processing the bike?
I then took swabs from those 3 separate areas that glowed.
Did you take swabs of the handlebars of the bike?
I did.
If I showed you those swabs, would you recognize them?
Yes.
So is it her blood?
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard that. Why was he wandering in the woods? Maybe he was out getting some fresh air. I like to go in the woods in the
Showing
summertime.
States Exhibit 98 and 99. Are those the swabs you used for the handlebars of the bike?
Yes.
Are those your initials on each?
Using the woods
Yes.
behind his house, so
So
Why would it
is one
matter?
for the left handlebar, one for the right?
Yes, 98 is from the right handlebar and 99 is from the left.
After you collected these swabs, what did you do with them?
They were submitted into evidence.
Ms. Ford, were you involved at all with the collection of evidence as it relates to the defendant himself?
Yes.
How exactly?
I took photographs of him and I also collected his buccal swabs.
If I showed you the buccal swabs you took from the defendant, would you recognize them?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's marked as States Exhibit 100. Can you identify what I just handed you?
Yes, it is the buccal swab from Zachary Hughes.
Did you take several?
Yes.
Or actually, did you take 2?
Yes.
Okay. Is that typical?
Yes.
After you collected these buccal swabs, what did you do with them?
They were submitted into evidence.
Ms. Ford, were you still involved in this case when John Mello returned back from Italy?
I was.
How were you involved, specifically oriented towards Mr. Mello?
So I responded to the Greenville County Detention Center where he was being held at the time. I took photographs of him and I collected his buccal swabs as well.
But unless it's her DNA on the bike, wouldn't his DNA be all over the bike, especially on the seat, the handlebar, and the last place I can't remember where it was, because he has his sweaty buttocks on the seat, and his sweaty hands on the handlebar. So there would be tons of DNA being sweated into. I hope they find her DNA there. Bum ba-dum, and nothing is working and everything's late. Move on, gotta move
Show you
on.
what's marked as States Exhibit 101.
oh, the pedals too. Okay.
No, the pedals. Yeah.
These are the buccal swabs that I collected from John Mello.
And there's 2 of them.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be from walking in the
What did
blood.
you
We
do after
didn't hear anything
collecting
about that.
Exhibit
Footprints.
101?
Those were also submitted to evidence.
He had the gloves on, but he would still sweat through them. And again, it's his bike, his DNA. It's kind of like John O'Keefe's DNA being on John O'Keefe's car, or Karen Reed's car. Not a big surprise. Yeah, the shoulders. Come on.
Here's what I know for the question for you.
Thank you.
Blue Star reacts to sweat. It reacts to bodily fluids. I don't know if it hits on sweat.
Allison Miller, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's sweat. I think it's just
Is there any significant findings? Is there
anything else.
We did the door handle.
Every time I try to get a hit, that's...
She just collected it, so they had to bring her in to just say that.
Yeah, just to put in
Left hand on
the
Bible,
chain of
raise your right
custody.
hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Sergeant Allison Wright.
So she's always right.
Ms. Wright, where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with Greenville County Forensics.
How long have you been with them?
A little over 7 years.
So were you employed with them in 2021?
12.
Yes, I was.
And what is your specific, in 2021, what was your specific role with the Sheriff's Office?
So I was with Greenville County Forensics. I was a field training officer.
And could you explain a little bit about what your roles and duties were in that?
As a field training officer, I went out on calls with some of the newer employees and helped train them. And then I trained the newer employees as they came in.
So that had to involve evidence collection and documentation?
Yes.
Okay. How are you involved in the present case?
I was requested to process the subject's vehicle.
Okay. Is that a 1999 Gold Ford Ranger?
Yes, it is.
Does that include taking photographs of that vehicle?
Yes, I photographed the vehicle.
Okay. When you're processing this truck, what other things are you doing going through it?
We first photographed the vehicle and then we searched it, or I apologize. We photographed the vehicle and then collected DNA swabs.
Oh.
We did the door handles, the tailgate handle, steering wheel, typical places that you would normally touch. And then after that, we searched it to see if there was anything of evidentiary value.
Because you said nothing.
And then at the end, we
So-
used Blue Star to search for or detect.
And we don't know they knew each other.
Now, was there any significant findings as a result of the use of the Blue Star?
We did have a few areas that illuminated.
And you say illuminated. Can you describe a little bit more as to what that indicates to you when you're going through and using Blue Star?
So Blue Star is used to detect blood. It shows the possible presence of blood. So when we spray it, we have a dark room. We'll spray the area, and if it illuminates, it'll illuminate like a blue color. That will indicate that there's possibly blood there.
And
Possibly.
then subsequently is when you do DNA collection?
So I swabbed for DNA on multiple items beforehand, but then if it does illuminate, I will also either swab or collect the item.
Understood.
Nothing's going to happen. They showed up more than once. It's effective counsel. Ineffective assistance of counsel is less obtainable than having a judge accuse themselves from a case.
Honestly, they fought hard to get that CP stuff put in, so I thought they did a good job there.
Yeah.
But I think that's hindering their case a little bit, to be honest with you.
What's happening? Why isn't this ready? No one was riding around in a hazmat suit. This was during the coup. He had a a normal mask on that everyone else was wearing during the coup, and wherever they had the mask thing. So nothing unusual about having that mask on. This was during I think the second lockdown in Denmark was what we had been at this time. Well, it's just, I don't know if you know Marissa, but I'm not that important. You're not that important, but...
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about the jury.
I love that she yelled at you, though.
She always yells at me. You trained them well, young grasshopper.
Stage 146 to 157 and 159 to 163. Do you recognize? Let me know if you recognize those photos as what you observed that day.
I don't have a bike. I can't ride a bike because of my herniated discs. Yeah, again, YouTube words.
Yes, I took the photos that were in our vehicle bay.
Your Honor, this time the state moves into evidence states 146 to 157 and 159 through 163.
It means to think
Objection stage
about it a little bit.
And 159 to 163.
Show me states 147. What is that?
That's a car.
That is the vehicle at the incident location that Technician Ford photographed.
Show you 151. What is 151?
That is the insurance card found in the vehicle.
Show you 152.
That is showing the truck bed of the vehicle at our vehicle processing bay.
You explain, why do you bring the car back?
Why did they take pictures
to
of a
the
car
location to process it?
in a processing bay?
We bring it back to a different location in order to have a secured location where we can take our time on processing it.
Let me show you states 154. What is that display?
This is a picture of a gas can and ropes that were inside the toolbox in the bed of the truck.
Again, which has nothing to do with this case.
Show you 159. What is that?
Those are the items that were found behind the front seats, and there's a pair
He
of
has a
books in
sword.
there.
He has a sword in his car.
I'm going to show you.
Oh my God.
160.
He's that big of a...
What is 160?
That was a pack of gloves that was located behind the seats in the vehicle.
Yeah, he's working outside of the...
And he's going back to 160. How many pairs of gloves does it say are in that pack?
It says there are 6 pairs.
I'll show you 161.
Yeah, he had a sword in the back of the car. Didn't you see it?
Those are like work gloves.
There's 6 pairs of gloves in that?
I have a pair of
there were
gloves like
5
that
pairs
because I was
located.
pulling weeds one time.
Yeah, I have a couple of pairs in the next
And
room.
finally, 163.
That's showing the bed of the truck and the toolbox that was in the bed of the truck.
Wouldn't that be normal for someone who is working outside at a house to clean it up so it's getting ready to be sold?
Yeah.
We'll talk just a little
Your
bit
state
more
isn't
about,
impressing us.
about Blue Star. Is blood the only thing that Blue Star might use to hit on?
No.
No, there are some additional false positives that Blue Star can eliminate on.
What are some things that it could give a positive on?
Cleaning supplies are one, as well as bleach is a big one.
Yep.
Some plants can actually illuminate as well, or different paints and tarnish.
Yep. Remember we learned all that. Like cleaning supplies can mess it all up.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
they
I
can
have no
still
further
imply
questions for
that
you.
it's
Thank you
just
so much.
because they cleaned up all the blood.
Yeah.
Cross-examination.
This is the least hard-hitting evidence ever.
All right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our afternoon break. Have a nice weekend and not discuss this case among yourselves.
And we're live.
We'll see you back in probably about 15 minutes. Okay? Thank you
Probably
all.
about 50 minutes or 45 minutes. So, for those of you who didn't see it, because I see cool stuff.
Show you 152.
Have a
He has a sword in the back of his car. He's a cool guy. I'm jealous. Oh, he also had one single glove in the back of the car. Clearly guilty, Jamie. Clearly guilty.
Duh.
They saw it 4 hours later, the truck with the bike in the back. Very far from the crime scene, but it's clearly that's why. And it's the only, out of 90 pictures, was the only picture they had with him with the bike in the back. But they didn't have him the same day with the bike in the back. That's so, I don't know. No, it wasn't a snow brush. It was a sword. You could see it by the crossguard. It's not a machete. It's a sword.
A machete.
Yeah, I every time I go to, we have something that's called Home and Fix.
Home and Fix.
Yeah, it's a low price store. I always buy bundles of 5 of those plastic coated gloves when I go into the garden, because whenever I need them, I can't find them.
Mm-hmm. I just love that it's called, what'd you say, Low and Fix?
No, Home and Fix.
Home and Fix.
Well, it's spelled differently. It's called Yem and Fix, but the Yem is home, so it's Home and Fix.
Home and Fix.
Yeah, we have to test the gloves, but he looks like he had tiny hands.
It's just like, it's so like blink. It's so literal. Home and Fix.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's really shitty, most of the stuff they have.
I like it.
We have heard no testing of anything other than the swabs they made, and we have no results for it.
Yeah, we haven't heard yet.
Yeah, if I had a sword, I would use a sword. Yeah.
They haven't said anything about a black backpack yet, or
No.
the murder weapon.
What does it matter that he had a sword? That he's a cool guy. Marissa, it's one of those things ladies don't understand. Having a sword is cool. Every guy in chat have at some point been looking at a very cheap ninja sword at a fair thinking, oh, that would be so cool.
Oh my god.
No, it doesn't matter that she wasn't. I think he's a cool guy because he owns a sword. I want a sword. I don't know. Everyone else is always getting, I'm going to get me a 10-gallon cowboy hat. No, I want a sword. I couldn't show it because it's against the rules on YouTube, but it could be a cool one.
Yeah. I do
See?
only support the Dollar Tree, Carol. You're not. And look at Valhalla coming in. I have swords.
Jemima has lightsabers. Well, they said it looked like wildflowers, but it's just weird that they had that rubber band around the stems then. A sword made out of shark teeth. Oh, that sounds cool. No, they just showed us a lot of pictures. We don't know why they showed us all these pictures. They haven't tied it together yet.
Yeah, you have to say, if you're going to just show us this stuff, you got to be like, these are exactly the gloves that the guy on the bike was wearing. And these are exactly like, you can't, I hate that so much.
Yeah.
Just implying, like, here's a bunch of stuff. Do with
See,
it.
Shax has a katana somewhere. Of course you did, Marissa. You and Jamie, you were walking in your Letterman jacket down the hall and move it, loser. Hey, girlfriend. Hey, what you doing? Oh, did you see that little kid over there? He was out lapping in the weekend. Get away from me, creepo.
Whatever. I was friends with everybody.
Mean Girls is made about you, Farrell, and Marissa.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Farrell was constantly trying to make fetch happen. Oh, it has to be swords. Swords are cool.
I did not have a Letterman jacket.
I don't know what a Letterman jacket is.
It's like the fancy ones the high school kids get with the leather sleeves, and you got your, letter on it, and then you get all your like sports you played, varsity sports you played in the back. And
yes, Jamie was all-state softball.
I did play softball. Only 1 year in high school, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you could run around naked out there playing with his sword. Yeah, they wear pink on Wednesdays. They are the worst. The worst. I miss a good show like Parks and Rec. I love John Ralphio.
John Ralphio was great.
Yeah. Is it really like that? You live near where it was taped. Is it like that where you live?
No. I wish. I'd love to work for that department if that's the kind of people that were there.
Yeah.
Our
I just love
suck.
all the murals at the city hall is just. And then there was a guy who took a photograph, and we burned him. You lettered in swords.
I lettered in swords.
Well, you should be. Yeah. What has the world come to when you can't brandish a sword? It's the First Amendment, Second Amendment. Everyone is always, can I have my hole puncher of freedom? No. Why is no one saying, I want a claymore, and I'm going to walk with it, sheeted on my back down Main Street. And if anyone wants to try anything, rush. You never hear anyone. They're always about, oh, I want my freedom hole puncher. No one is going around saying, can I get a shillelagh? That was a bad goat noise. It wasn't a goat noise. It was my claymore. A claymore is like a bastard sword, a 1.5-hander from Scotland. Yeah, Ninja Turtle should be, yeah, claymore. Not the click, click, boom, but a claymore sword. Yeah, kind of like the one, or William Wallace is a little too big, but something like that. It's a sword and a half. It's 1.5 hand. Hey, Julio, great show you had with the expert the other day. I love when she's on with the expert. He calms down. She's his Adderall. He becomes all, oh. Well, I'll stick to one topic, and I won't talk about squirrels.
Oh, my goodness.
That's we should get her to join us at Dollywood. Maybe we can keep track on him then. Would you be wearing a mask with the sword? No. Maybe a small buckler Just if anyone tries anything, you could.
Oh, I'm just picturing Baker's with a sword strapped to his back.
The stick thing is probably an Irish shillelagh because they weren't allowed to have weapons, so they used. I think it's from thorn bushes that they got like half a meter long wooden poke from that they could hit people with because it turns really hard. Good swords can weigh a great deal. Yeah, they can. They can be quite expensive. Yeah, Mad Jack Churchill carried a broadsword into the Second World War. He was also he had his own piper with him because you can't go to war without your own personal piper. So he was carrying a sword because playing the bagpipe. You can't do that, Jamie, without you. And he thought that he would carry a sword because that was more gentlemanlike. I actually think, didn't he get some people to surrender themselves just by showing up with the claymore and the bagpipe? I think there's some myth about that one. Tim, you are not the only one. We have been seeing a lot of problems since this is the evidence. Again, he had a bike with DNA on it. Whose DNA? I really need that DNA under her fingernails to be 100% his. It's how much is it in America? 1 in 10 trillion or quadrillion or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not that he said the name before. It can be something like that, but a shillelagh is just a known thing from the Irish, but it could be a club of some kind. What's my opinion on ninja stars? We made them back when we had home ec or whatever it's called in English in school out of sheet metal, and we can get them to stick really well in the walls. Don't play who can get closest with them. They can penetrate a tennis shoe. Well, I'm not one to brag, but thank you, Jemima. Oh, so it's a Southern American one. Yeah, they are called something else. Yeah, I can't remember what they are called. They have a special name when there's this obsidian. It's kind of like an axe, but not really, because it's a piece of obsidian. Yeah. Da, 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 da. You were on TV dancing at age 12. Oh my, we have famous people here. I don't know what you call it in English. That's cooking and sewing. I lost my sewing driver's license because I might have started sewing when a girl had her hands under, and you're not allowed to do that. What was the sword in the stone story called? Excalibur, the myth of King Arthur. I think it's just King Arthur if it's the Disney one you're looking for, but it's Excalibur. That's the name of the sword, which is weird because according to the original myth, some lady in the lake tossed it at him. Who elected you as king? I was given Excalibur by the maiden in the lake. So you became supreme leader by some watery tart tossing a sword at you. Isn't that something like that they say in Monty Python and the Great Knights, or the Knights of the Holy Grail? No, we had it we call it, I don't know, you know where you learn to work with metal and wood and stuff like that. You can get those big lock nuts, and then you could tie a string in them. Could really do some damage with those, I've heard, because we never ever busted windows with that. Oh, good for him. Yeah, it kind of looks like it's like it's a saw, but it's obsidian all the way up. It's. I don't speak. I think it's an Aztec weapon. I'm not sure what it is. Check it. Okay, shop class. Okay. And the Boswell jury is officially deliberating. Machete is a weapon, a wooden sword with several embedded obsidian blades. The name is derived from the Nathural language and means handwood. I have some handwood. It's a I don't know. It's a machete. Is sloyd a word in English? I don't think so. But sloyd wasn't only metal. It was all the stuff. Yeah, just as I described. I know everything, Jemima. That's a machete. These obsidian pieces up here must really have hurt like hell when they took your arm off. Because it's more like a crushing than like a cutting injury. No fun at all. Yeah, but you know from school you can't trust Wikipedia. That's what we call shop class. Yeah, if it's carved the correct way, then it can be very sharp. It's kind of like flint. But I think these are the Irish ones I was talking about. It's just a piece of wood. Well, this one has a bit of a morning star on it. But because they couldn't have weapons, they made these as walking sticks. But this one can carve your skull in and no problem. So these were effective weapons back in the day. And I think it's made from you can see the thorns on this one. I think it's made from rosen wood. Because it's really hard. So that's an Irish weapon. Yeah, the police constable had one in. Wasn't he the police constable, or was he the barber? I can't remember. He had one in Gangs of New York. Yeah. I thought, why is Ian hell? Yeah, it's imagine having that driven into your shoulder. It's probably not fun. You would rather have a sword. That's why sword. Let's make swords great again. No more whining about freedom seed dispensaries. Let's talk about swords. Why are we not all fighting to get swords? A swordful world is a thoughtful world. No, I don't have any inclination of why they think he did it. We haven't talked about him till now. And so far, what did they find? They took a lot of pictures and they took some bugle swabs. I don't know. Are we going to have someone tell us what the bugle swabs showed? Yeah, you had a reaction with Blue Star. How? What? What if any? So I don't see the state have proven anything yet. They haven't even connected him properly with Mr. Now I can't remember his name.
Mellow.
Mello. Haven't even connected him properly to Mello to show that they have that type of relationship where he would go and unalive his ex-wife. I know there's supposedly 1,200 WhatsApp messages between them, but it hasn't been brought in yet. All of this have been about everything else than the defendant. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they proved it. Yeah. Of course I can't. I can't have a knife with a blade over 3 inches. I live in a socialist paradise. Yeah, and they are really nasty, because open a wound with those, they don't close again. Mm-hmm. They have too many witnesses with no evidence so far. Dragging on their timeline is weird. So far, what they have been doing is just getting all of their evidence in there, but they are never talking about the evidence, what the evidence show. I don't know if they're just going to pile on a ton of it and then spend a full day just going over with one guy saying this is all the DNA evidence, then another guy saying this is all the things we found at the house. I don't know, because they never talk about the evidence they put in. I use it every time I talk to my sister. She doesn't use Messenger. How do I cut my steak? Well, I'm allowed to have a steak knife at my house, but I can't take it outside, because then I don't have a... Well, if I was a fisherman and I went fishing, I was able to have a fishing knife. But if I then forget it in my car and I stop while I'm out shopping and I'm not going fishing, I would get a $1,000 fine, because 1,000 Danish fine, because I don't have a reason to have it in my car. Yeah, but I was probably 10 years old, so I didn't know about the law, and I was below the legal age, so no problem for me. Whips hurts like hell. So far, the state have presented zero evidence that actually linked the defendant, a bunch of circumstantial stuff that had not actually tied to anything. Yeah. The fiancé makes much more sense even without the CP. No alibi, found out someone had nude photos and cloned her phone. Apparently he had some kind of alibi, but we didn't really get into it. What he was doing that morning. I don't understand what I live in a socialist paradise. We don't have freedom. We have the state to think for us. Yeah, from piano man to hitman. And again, one thing is to, let's say he takes her out with a car. Or but we're talking about 31 stabulations. 31 stabulations. That's not... We just had the Colin Griffith case. He stabulated his mom once. This one is supposedly 31 punch holes, and a lot of it in the face. Normally you say, if you attack the face and if you use a knife, it's personal. So I have a hard time seeing this guy who never met her before just all of a sudden decided, yeah, I'm going to unalive her. Just because I like her husband. I don't know. He said he was at home doing laundry. That's a great excuse. It's kind of like in the Karen Tyler case where I was out running. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's the newest thing. Some Danes want to buy California, but it's kind of the same.
As awful as this woman is, I'm just having a hard time caring.
Could her husband have put? That's their story. Their story is the husband, ex-husband, put him up to it. But if I have to believe that, they need to have been buddies, really, really close buddies. I wouldn't unalive for any of my buddies. If someone called me up and said someone was touching my kid, I of course would do absolutely nothing against the law, Jamie. You know that.
Of course, right?
Yeah. But there's no evidence of them having that close. I know some people are saying, well, they were F buddies, but we haven't heard anything about any connection. And he was in Europe at the time, so all of this communication had to have happened via text. And he was cleaning outside of his house he needed to sell. And then he texts him, hey, can you swing by the ex's house the next Wednesday and just stabulate her 31 times in the face? Doesn't seem likely. No evidence of any money. I'll entertain all the theories, but there's just no proof of it. They haven't proven anything.
Next witness for the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Vanessa Cormala.
Vanessa Cormala. How did you get Cormala to Kamala? We don't know yet either. That's what we read before and what they said in opening statement. His DNA was under her fingernails, but they haven't. No one has talked about all of that evidence yet.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
No, there's no dumb questions. But again, I'll just tell you what they have put into evidence and didn't put into evidence. I hate that.
Please state your name for the record.
That
Vanessa
pattern.
Cormalo.
Yeah. It F's my eyes totally.
K-O-R-M-Y-L-O.
I get vertigo looking at it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please tell the jury a little bit about what you do for a living?
I'm a practicing family law attorney, mostly in Greenville County. I've been practicing 28 years.
So are we going back to talking about their bad relationship with the ex-husband?
I swear to God.
Predominantly
I might start screaming.
in family law, handle some closings, but mostly family law, representing litigants and also representing children in court when I serve as guardian ad litem.
What is a guardian ad litem?
That is an advocate for the child who's appointed in family court cases when there are issues involving the children, such as visitation issues or custody issues. A guardian's appointed. It's typically an attorney, but sometimes we have some non-attorneys that are awesome, and so that's just part of our system. When a case involves a child, we do an investigation. We're kind of an arm of the court, and we report back our findings to the judge.
And how are you involved in this case, the state against Zachary Hughes?
In the case against Zachary Hughes, I came into a little bit of this case because I was the guardian ad litem for the child of the mother who was murdered.
Of Christina Parcell?
Yes.
And John Mello?
Investigate the mother?
Yes.
When were you appointed the guardian ad litem of Ida Mello?
In October of 2020.
How old was Ida when you were appointed?
I believe she was 8.
So, getting a little bit into this, as guardian ad litem, are you responsible for communicating with the father and the mother of the child?
Yes, I typically start with the parents, the parties. We talk to third parties, go visit the child at the school, of course, talk to the child a good bit. And then by the time we get to court, I would have investigated and talked to way more people, and I prepare a written report before the trial.
Oh.
So in October of 2020, where was Ida Mello?
She was in
Can
Italy.
I ask questions to this lady?
So, were you able to contact her while she was over there?
I had her father's email address, and Mr. Mello and I would email back and forth. He did not necessarily cooperate in allowing me to speak with him or the child. There was one time I was going to get to speak with her. He wanted to script my questions, and I didn't want to put her in an uncomfortable position, so I waited to meet her until she came back.
Yeah, what does this have to do with anything again?
You better
this
be so transparent then with everything going on if we're going to sit here and talk about how weird he's being.
Yeah, and again, if they're allowed to ask about this, ask her, did you look into the background of the mother? Did you do a deep dive? Have you heard about the disturbing news that broke after her unaliving? About had you any inclination that the daughter that you put in the home was suffering CP?
So I think you touched on it, but by what method would you communicate with Mr. Mello?
Email only.
Okay.
No, he has nothing to do with any of this. This is the deceased person and Mr. Mello. Mr. Mello knows Zachary Hughes, and they are alleging Mr. Mello set him up to do this, but they still haven't tied that silk ribbon around how they knew each other and why he did it.
Yeah.
Was Ida Mello
maybe
eventually
he's going to
returned
get involved with his lawyer or something?
Yes, in April of 2021, the Hague Convention, the international body that helps enforce different custody rulings, ordered that Aida return to South Carolina, and then the mother was awarded custody here by agreement.
Okay. So, once Ada had returned to South Carolina, what developed as far as that custody dynamic, specifically with regard to your role?
So the parents were in contested custody litigation. The mother wanted Aida to stay here, of course, with her. Mr. Mello was in Italy, and I think there were some criminal charges that he was working through before he could return here.
Why can they disparage him, but they can't disparage her? I think there was some criminal charges. She wanted her here, of course. Well, he wanted her there, of course. Stop being a system worker who always, no matter how bad the house is, awards the kids to the mom. In Denmark, it's 95% of the cases. This lady will always see the man as the bad guy. I'll bet it.
So they were just in what I would consider very highly contested litigation. Mr. Mello regularly emailed me, and he was a very difficult litigant to manage.
So speaking to
Do you know what was going
dispute,
on?
was this the
No
first
wonder.
time? Let me back up.
Jesus Christ.
Was it your role upon being appointed guardian ad litem to investigate a little bit into the history between the custody dynamic?
Yes, typically I'll speak to the prior guardian ad litem if there was an older case. In this case, sadly, the parents had been fighting since Aida was 3. So there were several cases, Greenville County and Pickens, and I was able to talk to the prior guardian ad litem and increasingly grew concerned about Mr. Mello.
So you said you communicated with Mr. Mello through email. Was that primarily the method of communication, or like the only method of communication?
It was the only method of communication except one phone call I had with him.
Okay. So over the course of your role as guardian ad litem, approximately how many emails did you exchange with Mr. Mello?
I don't even know if I could count them. I know when we printed them for the family court trial, I think it was 3 or 4 reams of paper.
So also in the course of...
I don't blame him.
Once Aida returns from Italy...
I wouldn't have my kid living with that a-hole as well.
Yes, He was continuing to communicate, harass, threaten, intimidate, bully. His communications were unlike anything I've ever encountered as guardian, and so they continued to escalate, and I was pretty concerned.
So not getting into the specifics of maybe some of the things that he messaged you, but
no, let's get into all the effing specifics, because you don't care that she's constantly trashing him. Let's talk about this mom and how she wasn't that this good person you claim she was. Jamie, I'm about to yell.
Go for it. I'm kind of irritated too. Talking about he's doing all these things. Do you know what the mom was doing?
Yeah.
When you say threats and harassment,
and what does it have to do with the defendant? Bring him up then.
He would tell me that I always needed to be looking over my shoulder, that he was coming after my license, that I was going to get arrested for criminal
Your
charges,
license?
civil
Oh my
charges,
God.
that I was definitely going to jail. He mentioned my children to me by name.
What does that have to do with the fucking end?
He was coming after your license?
One visitation I had with him, he put terrible things on the internet about me, including my office address and phone number.
Is that a terrible thing, your office address?
You're
a government
location
worker.
That you work, isn't that out there?
You're a government worker. You don't have privacy in your office. Everyone can look you up in the phone book, or should be able to, because you work for the taxpayer.
He actually included my husband in his posts. He said awful things, that we were trafficking children.
Yeah, kind of were.
Ukrainian children through Spartanburg. That's like on the internet. It was Facebook and Reddit, and at one point he said I was manufacturing child pornography in my law office and put my address and my phone number right there. So
they mentioned CP.
Definitely fired up.
And once you assumed this role, this line of communication began, did you receive similar types of emails from, let's say, third parties?
Yeah.
Yes, I would start receiving emails early on, not just from Mr. Mello, but from other people on his behalf, multiple different, one was an attorney, one was a private investigator, allegedly, one was a saint, one was, they were just multiple people that...
A saint? That they have the very expensive extension line, because...
that would email me from different addresses with very similar threats and characterizations of me and the litigation. And they would definitely be arguing on behalf of Mr. Mello.
Would you attempt to follow up with these individuals when they reached out to you?
Yes, I would typically try and return an email, try and find out who the sender was, try and verify if they were real. We had suspicions that many of them were Mr. Mello himself because of the way the emails were worded. He used a lot of the same phrasing. He writes in a very unusual manner using capitals at different times and has absolutely terrible spelling. So we could see a lot of similarities in these third-party emails, which caused us to believe they were likely him. And then, like for instance, if an attorney emailed me and I couldn't find that attorney anywhere, or a private investigator emailed me and I never could find that private investigator, I really was left with the only conclusion that it was likely Mr. Mello.
So
this is
going into October, or let me back up a little bit. So as this developed, with you in the role as guardian ad litem, what findings did you make as to the lengths that Mr. Mello would go to?
I can't get to the case we are trying. We are not, this is turning into a murder trial. We are talking about everything else but the trial. This is a murder case where Zachary Hughes is charged. We are constantly talking about Mr. Mello, then bring charges against Mr. Mello.
Get custody back of Igo.
He was very clear that there was nothing off limits. He was like I said, threatening, harassing, intimidating, and he was consistently.
I want the full story, though.
Emails.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was represented by attorneys. Sometimes he was not. And
why was he doing it, ma'am? Why?
This was the worst case I've ever worked on. As
Yeah,
far
was there a
as
reason?
representing a child's interest, but at the same time having a parent act like that. It came to the point even early on. I think in May of 2021, I brought a motion to the court as the child's guardian, asking for a psychological evaluation of him and asking that the mother be allowed to end phone calls if the child was uncomfortable.
Oh, he needs a psychological evaluation, but the mother was doing what now? This woman can.
If they're not allowed to ask about the mother now, this judge should just go sit on a cacti and spin.
Yeah.
It's they are prejudicing the jury with a man who isn't charged. And they're not allowed to talk about why he was so distraught with this woman.
While you were guarding ad litem, did you ever receive some, let's just say, suspect envelopes in the mail?
Yes.
I mean,
if I showed you that envelope, would you recognize it?
Yes.
This is infuriating. He's allowed to do this, but...
I'm showing you what's marked as State Exhibit 158.
I don't know why they don't object for relevancy.
Well, they probably are hoping it opens the door and they just let her yap about it.
This is addressed to me at my office on Washington Street.
Yeah.
It is dated July 8th of 2021 and it came from Knoxville, Tennessee. Per the mail carrier, the return address references a P.O. box here in Greenville, which we later learned belonged to Brad Post.
You said Knoxville, Tennessee?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the date that it was?
It's Valhalla.
July, and I think it was 2021.
Okay. July 8th, sound right?
Yes, sorry.
That's all right. Not getting into the specifics, and I realize it's unpleasant, but generally, what were the contents of this envelope?
They involved pictures of Christina Parcell in various states of undress. One included a male anatomy body part in one of the pictures. They were basically pornographic in nature. Yes.
What did you do after receiving this envelope?
I called law enforcement.
Okay.
Jemima.
Did you submit it to them to your knowledge?
I did.
Okay. Was that the only envelope you received?
No.
When did you receive another?
I think it was about a month later. We received another envelope from Knoxville, Tennessee, with the same P.O. box return address. So this time, we actually just called law enforcement to come get the envelope rather than opening it.
And in the context of what you've testified to, would sending something like this be in line with John Mello's actions in the custody dispute?
Yes, this would be in line with also what he emailed,
No, he went to Julia.
how he conducted himself. He was determined to discredit and disparage and ruin the
Objection, speculation, you don't know that.
reputation and character of the mother. He was in a
yeah.
battle, so he was
'Cause she's
determined
in
for her
POS.
to be thought of in a certain light and hopefully be determined to be unfit.
So at
Yeah.
the time
She
you
was.
received these, let's say
All of
July
those
and
things. She is.
Jemima, I know you don't do criminal law. Isn't this opening the door? She is sitting here shitting on the father and saying, well, he tried to put in a bad light. Well, there was a reason why she was being put in a bad light. Because she was a horrible person. Allegedly, she used to be a lady of the night. Allegedly, she did the Colombian fun powder. Did you look into any of that?
This is 2021. What is the posture of the custody dispute?
We were just moving right along. I think I had the motion for him to have a psychological evaluation. The mother had custody at that time. Of course, even though I had reason to be concerned about Mr. Mello and how he conducted himself, I also had a duty to investigate the allegations he was making against the mother. And I did that to the best of my ability. I've never done this before, but I actually hired a private investigator to look into things for me. I tried to find out if there was anything true about the allegations he was making, because this little girl was in that woman's home. And her interests were my duty. So I tried my best to interview people.
Now the door should be kicked open.
Research, work with the private investigator, and that my duty is ongoing and through the end of the trial. So that's what I had to do. Of course, I talked to the mother about the pictures and determined they were very old and in a consensual setting. So I did look into these things. I didn't just write them off because he was, so unstable.
You mentioned accusations that John Mello would make. Would he accuse Ms. Parcell of using drugs?
He did. That was a large part of his concern about her. So at least as guardians, we can investigate that fairly easily. We asked her to take one, I think, even more drug screens to see if she was actually using drugs. And since she was living with her sister at the time, we asked her to be drug screened. They were in the same home with the child. I think at one point the child was even drug tested in a corresponding case. So we did investigate that. We found no evidence of any drug use in the testing.
Okay.
And the private investigator also did not see any type of dealing in and out of the home.
So you had a shitty PI and you are a shitty guardian ad litem because you only care for the mother. And clearly there was drugs at the house and there was CP found where she participated. If this can't be allowed in now, I don't know how the door can be opened. She clearly stated they looked into it and found nothing. That should be...
Had you been asked to make the recommendation, would you have recommended Ida to stay with Christina Parcell?
Yes. So in family court, we're actually not allowed to make recommendations to the court unless we're asked by a judge. And I know you just asked me, but yes, my position was in visiting her in school and talking to her teacher. She was thriving here. She was doing so well in her mother's custody, living with her aunt. They had Taco Tuesdays and...
Oh, they had Taco Tuesdays. Oh, yeah.
But if she's allowed to say this BS, they are allowed to ask her, is it true that there were found multiple pictures of the mom and the daughter in undressed states, some of them sexual? If the defense, before they go to cross, don't ask for a sidebar and get the judge's ruling on this one.
Anyway, she loves sushi and avocado, and she was just living a very full life. When I visited, she was riding bikes with the neighbor kids, making friendships, and doing so well. So at the time, yes, that would have been my recommendation if we had gone to trial before the mother's murder.
So at the time of the murder, would John Mello have been aware of any reports or recommendations that would have been negatively oriented towards him?
He would definitely have been aware of my motion to have him psychologically evaluated. He would be aware of my concerns about him through our hundreds, if not thousands, of emails back and forth. I don't hold back when I'm the guardian, so if he's making allegations and I'm asking him, please substantiate these. If you're going to accuse the mother of this, please give me substantiation and I will investigate this. If he says neighbors are watching something, please give me the neighbors' names. I have the ability as guardian to bring a motion before the court to
How do you feel now?
Have her removed if the court has substantiation of the concerns. And he would just play games and tell me he couldn't give me the names of the witnesses he knew about because he needed to save them when he sued me in civil litigation.
So he played games?
So he was very aware.
Or he didn't trust you?
I was not a fan of how he conducted himself. If you're worried about a child enough to make substantial allegations, and this guardian is appointed only for her interests, please work with me. Even if we had differences, set them aside, help me help your child. And he was definitely not cooperative.
So, before the murder on October 13th, 2021, when was the last time that Mr. Mello saw Ida?
Prior to the murder?
Prior to the murder.
He would have seen her last in Italy when Christina, the mother, flew over to get her per the Hague order and fly her home. So I think he had seen her there in Italy. To my knowledge, he had not returned to our country until after the murder.
So that would have been April of 2021?
Yes.
She's the one who gave the kid to the mother
Time span
and meant,
from April to
I believe
October
that the mother
2021
was a
with
better
regard to
parent.
The custody dispute and the positioning of parties?
Well, in family court, we really look at how often you see your child. Are you supporting your child financially? And we have a mechanism in family court statutory that says if you don't visit your child willfully for 6 months, and if you don't pay child support for your child for a period of 6 months, your rights can actually be terminated if the court determines that's in the
You
child's
took her
best
his
interest.
rights away because
so
they had an
parents are pretty
agreement.
sensitive to the 6 month mark.
In October was that 6 month mark? Is that correct?
That would be right.
Do you know who the defendant is?
I'm familiar with his face, yes. I don't think I've ever met him in person.
Let's say prior to October 13th of 2021, did you know who he was?
So when you're a guardian ad litem, both parents give you lists of character witnesses they would like you to interview in relation to their case.
Yep.
And so the first time I saw Mr. Hughes' name would have been May of 2021. And I received that through Mr. Miller's attorney at the time, as he was on a list of character witnesses to interview, for me to interview on behalf.
The victim is a woman that's 41-year-old. The defendant has not been mentioned other than just now by this lady, who clearly put on her blinders in this case.
Of Mr. Mello.
Did he take any actions with regard to the custody situation? I'm speaking of Mr. Hughes. Did he take any actions with regard to the custody situation after the murder?
After the murder, I'm not sure of.
Okay.
Before the murder, he prepared an affidavit
Okay.
to support Mr. Mello regaining custody of his daughter. And he also worked with local attorneys, helping Mr. Mello procure representation and in that line.
Oh,
I'm
we
gonna show you
know
what it
getting a
states in
lawyer
Exhibit
means you're guilty.
164. Showing you States Exhibit 164.
Yes, this is the affidavit he prepared for court. He prepared it in September of 2021, September 21st, which we thought was unusual because there was nothing pending at that particular time. And then in October after the murder, we were in court for a hearing about where Aida would live after her mom was murdered, and this affidavit was used in that motion.
So something written a month before.
Exhibit 164.
Show me.
No objection. Exhibit 64 comes in. Thank you, Judge.
They found it at the house later. She's been sued posthumously by the daughter's estate. So is her fiance. Allegedly, thousands of pictures. They weren't allowed to bring it in with the fiance, but this lady is just shitting all over everyone. And I believe that the defense should be able now to ask, did you ever follow up on any allegations about child abuse? Did you ever get any notice about it after the death? Were you aware that multiple pictures was found at the residence with the mom and the daughter in them? And do you still believe your recommendations were the right one, or did you fail? And should you be fired, lose your license, and go to prison?
So I want to clarify this timeline here. So in September of 2021, what purpose would this affidavit have in the custody dispute? Or was there a place for this affidavit in the custody dispute to be needed?
Okay, so in family court, trials involve live testimony like today. Hearings involve affidavits, which are just sworn statements, that are notarized. So we prepare them in relation to motions that we file. To my knowledge, there was no motion pending at the time that affidavit was prepared.
Okay. And this was filed October 22nd of 2021.
Right. And at that time, of course, after the murder, we all kind of filed what we could, because you have a mother who's been murdered, a child who doesn't have her mom, and her dad's in Italy. And so her placement in custody was in question.
So it's only.
Why are you
9 days
smiling all
after
the
murder
time,
that
weird lady?
This is filed.
Correct. And we were back in court dealing with Aida's placement at that time.
So he set this up before he unalived her, so you would have it for that hearing? Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
I want to go back briefly. Speaking of these emails you received from third parties, what were some of those parties, or those individuals, purported individuals that you could recall?
There was an attorney named Sophia Carlucci. There was an investigator. The email said Mullins Investigations. There was a saint. I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember. It was a saint somebody. There was a guy who wrote me a...
Oh, stupid.
I'm familiar with...
You can't have a saint in a case. A saint is a dead person who the Catholic Church have elevated to sainthood. What the hell is she talking about with a saint?
To my knowledge, what we could...
Back briefly, speaking of these emails you received from third parties, what were some of those parties, or those individuals, purported individuals that you could recall?
There was an attorney named Sophia Carlucci. There was an investigator. The email said Mullins Investigations. There was a saint. I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember. It was a saint somebody. There was a guy who wrote me as a biker dude with a particular experience he wanted to share with me. And then there was a Mitch Rubin. I don't know what profession he was, but he actually emailed one of our judges in our case, and that's not acceptable.
So
I'm not sad for you at all, woman.
You said
No,
Mullen
you're a
Investigations.
horrible person, and
You received
you're
emails
really
from
bad
this
at your job.
Yes.
entity? Did you try to identify who that was?
Sure, I searched on the internet, tried to find any investigations, any investigator named Mullins, company named Mullins Investigations.
Any success there?
I could not find them.
No, and yes.
Was Sophia Carlucci one of these individuals that reached out to you?
Yes, she was very involved with helping Mr. Mello.
And I'm looking at these emails that you received specifically from Sophia Carlucci. Did you notice anything peculiar about any of those emails that helped identify who might have sent them?
Sure. As attorneys, we kind of have a bad rap, but we try to actually be civil toward one another for the most part. She was not civil in any way. She's never met me. She's writing these hateful communications, very insulting, very similar to Mr. Mello's tone. And a lot of times some of the phraseology would be identical to how Mr. Mello would address me and email me. I tried, and sometimes I would try to see if the sheriff's office could help with tracking the emails, but if they were from proton.com or there were other ways we could never really seem to trace them, and I'm not really good at that. Computer forensic stuff, but I could never find the source of the emails. But my suspicion was a lot of them seemed to talk a lot like Mr. Mello.
Did you ever mistakenly send one from one of those, send an email from
Yes, there was an email one time from Sophia Carlucci, from John, I think, in Sophia Carlucci's email. So it's like he was emailing me, but he used Sophia Carlucci's name and information.
Thank you. I have no further questions for you.
Cross-exam.
Come on. Come on.
Oh my god. Please don't be lame. Yeah, approach the...
Yeah, the door must have been kicked effing down, but the judge will probably say, "I'll allow it. I won't allow it."
Yeah. Like, do you understand this man's frustration?
Yeah, he lived with her. He knew that she had been an escort. He probably knew she had had a drug problem, and now you're telling him, "Oh, she's the good one." Oh, I'm scared someone is sitting with a mask on in court. I learned from the neighbor the people with a mask on are terrifying.
So apparently,
Step out, I have a matter on you.
according to that alibi lady, he has a crap ton of people supporting him.
Did they send the jury out?
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll hear this
Like,
discussion.
look at her side and look at his side. Apparently, she said his side's like stacked full of people that's supporting him. I thought it was interesting.
The judge should allow them to ask, because he just allowed the character assassination of Mr. Mello, and by proxy claimed that this guy helped him send threatening emails.
Yeah.
They should be allowed to discuss. And why are we not allowed to hear this discussion? It's on the record. It should be on the record, because this is a motion to allow it in.
I mean, they got to argue the other stuff that we heard about, so.
Yeah, they are nothing about them discussing if the door is open on the CP stuff. She brought up CP. She talked about him accusing them of human trafficking. So yeah, if the door isn't open, we don't need to cover the rest of the case. He'll be found guilty because the judge is helping them. Oh, well, normally motions outside of the jury will still be played. But of course, Marissa is always right. She's been after. I don't know, Jamie, it's because you've been away so much. But Marissa has really stepped up her evilness. Constantly nagging. Maybe I don't make her frolic enough. I think that could be the...
Probably not.
I think that's the big problem. She's not frolicking. I think a lot of Marissa's problem would be helped if she just found a beach, started frolicking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. No, she didn't really find anything. Her investigator didn't find anything. I agree. Yeah, let us in. Let's get to this. Why would the state bring this up? I just don't get it. Well, again, to disparage Mr. Mello, who's nothing to do with this case, and then imply that this guy, by making a motion 3 weeks before the unaliving, was the one who unalived her. Because it established that they knew each other, maybe. I don't know. It's too cold for beach frolicking right now, which is why we are also grouchy. Yeah, we should remember to meet up an hour every morning and talk about your problems. And then you can go frolic and us men can sit and talk about investments and how to get out of paying taxes. Yeah. How many subs till 13,000? I'm losing subs every day. I was at 12,969 the other day, and this morning I think I was at 12,943 or something like that. So I'm stuck on 50 below. Oh, you've been riding the snowmobile. Yeah, it annoys me that if they're not allowed to talk about stuff, when she can sit here and spew all the bullshit, she has no evidence that he sent any of the emails. And they can just put it in there.
Mm-hmm. She can just talk about how he's just this crazy person. She wanted to have him like evaluated.
Yeah. Why are we listening so much to his mental state? Then bring him in and talk. This is all secondhand information. It's I really don't get why. I in my best opinion, the door must have been kicked in because she brought all of this up and his concerns, and she looked into it. That should be enough for them to say, but you didn't find what was really going on. And was Mr. Mello right in his fear at putting Ada at Christina's home.
Yeah.
That should be a totally cromulent question right now. And when she says, we did investigate, is it true, or did you obtain new evidence after her death that made you realize that Mr. Mello had a right to be concerned? That should be totally allowed to talk about with this, what there's just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why wouldn't he ask again? But it's you do this, you do that, and it's wrong. No matter what you do. See you later, Celestial. And court is about to end. I don't know if we get to cross-examination because it's 4:30 trial time because they're 30 minutes. And yesterday they ended around 5. Mm-hmm. So they should be... No, we were done 11:11 yesterday. So they should be about to end. Well, not in all cases.
I do.
By the way,
I have
tons of fun drops again today in the Karen Reed case. They want the dog bite expert who has no expertise, according to Bev, who needs people with medical degrees. The defense wants him out. It will be really hard for Bev not to rule him out because she said you need a medical degree to talk about injuries. The state want the ARCA guys out. They want to test the 2 cars in the O'Keefe's driveway. The defense have asked for this before, and the O'Keefe said, get a motion from the judge to do it, because they just want to find who killed John O'Keefe and get justice for him. No, they won't. They just want to get paid. They have motions to... Well, the defense doesn't want to turn over their evidence because they are afraid that the state will then tailor their explanations so they can't catch them on cross-examinations. They have certain instances from the first trial where they believe that the nephew had his story changed. Jen McCabe. Need I say more? Brian Proctor, Michael Proctor, and Brian Albert are all mentioned as people who have changed their stories. So a lot of stuff going on that it could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye. I have eyelashes, so I gotta go.
Bye, lashes.
Bye. Goodbye, guys. Have fun.
I'm so sad Jamie isn't on camera anymore with those lovely lashes. Woohoo! More frolicking. See you later, Kiwi. It's really annoying that they take these breaks and we don't know what's happening. But it could be interesting if people in court could hear what they were discussing, and that's why they were nodding along, because the defense was doing the argument that they should allow it in now. So, but I can't see them going that much longer. Yesterday they ended about 5, and it's 5 o'clock now, but they're on a half-hour delay, so maybe they could... Because they can't get through this lady in 5 minutes, so they should shock her home and start early in the morning, and then the defense should go home, grow a pair, and really hammer her tomorrow. Woohoo! Party! Yeah, and they should have stayed clear of her doing all of these. Well, he was doing allegations, but we looked into it. Nothing's wrong. Everyone's leaving. See you, Ian. Yeah, that's where she knew him from. And potentially he went to school in Tennessee. He's a Juilliard trained. Isn't Juilliard in New York? That's where the letters were shipped from Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know if Juilliard has somewhere at the University of Tennessee, but I've been to the University of Tennessee. It's a pretty place. I saw a girl in the shortest dress I've seen, where you could still call her dressed. If her thong had been a little loose, it would hang lower than a dress. I thought that was not quite appropriate for a graduation photo, but young people, what do I know? We don't know how he's involved in this case. We don't know anything about anything. They haven't established. He's written a support letter for him to obtain custody. That's all we know. We know nothing. Thank you so much. It'll help with the views. Kortere end det var, og de skulle tage et billede, og så skulle hun lige læne sig lidt frem, og men til gengæld, så var hendes veninde, hun stod sammen med, hun var så fed, så hun var ligesom hende rapperen, der ikke kunne køre med lift forleden. Yeah, I have to. Someone has to get me to the red rumming. Why did he choose to go red rum someone? Did his buddy ask him to it? Then show me the WhatsApp messages where he says, "Hey, can you swing by the old ball and chain and just hit her 31 times? Maybe bring a bouquet of flowers and put her in the living room." There must be some trace of that communication, because he was in Italy. How would he have communicated with him? It must have been done on some kind of electronic device. He was at home doing laundry or something like that. Yeah, that's a weird case. And they are half an hour ahead of us. Do they know what they were talking about in there? Yeah, but he has custody now, and maybe they want to paint him as bad as pictures, so if Zachary gets convicted, he will sing about the dad and said he set him up to do it. He was the one, he hired him or something. Could be that's why they want to paint him as bad. I don't know. I don't know, Kiwi. Yeah, 30 minutes ago. That's 10 minutes ago our time. So that's and the judge still hasn't come back. Why didn't he come back? Excuse the jury, go home, talk to his judge buddies, and come in tomorrow and make a ruling instead of keeping people there. It doesn't make sense. We don't know who is the drug supplier, because she didn't do drugs, her sister didn't do drugs. Who did the drugs? A bag of cocaine was found at the house, but no one did cocaine. WhatsApp is encrypted. Yeah, but you still have the messages because it's stored on his phone. So you can just go into WhatsApp and see them. Yeah, but he's probably going back to check the case law. Probably, yes. But then send the jury home and double check this, because it was 4:30 when he sent them out. So he could just 4:30. So he could just have sent them home, and then, because he knew this motion was going to come, and he should have been prepared for this motion. We don't know. We haven't heard any results of any prints or DNA tests yet. This is they just have people come in and say, yeah, we did a buccal swab. Okay, see you later. Yeah, we tested the area for DNA. What did you find? I don't know. We have no results of any of it. That's why I'm sitting here thinking, they're calling people out of order. Normally you get people in, I did this. I obtained all of this evidence. Then you have some people coming in and say, I tested all of this evidence. And then you have the final person coming in and say, this is what the evidence say. But in this case, yeah, we did the luminol test, and we did DNA swabs, and we did buccal swabs, and we looked at his truck. What did you do with all of it? I don't know. I'll see tomorrow. It's why would she tell him? Because she was part of it. That's the problem. She was a part of the CP. No, they're sent home every day. No, she didn't find Jesus. She found CP and allegedly also dogs. Yes. Allegedly, she didn't only do corn with her daughter and her daughter's friend, she also did it with animals. I have a very hard time feeling sorry for this person. Well, you're old. That happens. No evidence provided that could say anything like that. I haven't heard any rumors on any of the podcasts that cover this trial either. It seemed like it was a consensual thing. They were in a mercurial relationship, but nothing else that could indicate. He supported her in some way. He bought her car, paid for the car, but nothing really that indicate that they weren't anywhere in a good relationship. We learned from the sister today that she stayed with him all the time when her daughter wasn't there. Yeah, well, he'll probably be racing through the neighborhood back to get that back. No. She did that with her fiancé. They found it after the unaliving. That's where they found all of the pictures. Thousands of pictures of CP and DP. Dog corn. So, yeah, I think eeks to the kid things is more. I don't know. I haven't looked that far into it. It's just the rumors I've seen in the different stories about there is a civil suit against her estate from the daughter. Christina Parcell. Civil suit. I found it the other day. I found the civil suit the other day. It's horrible, horrible things. This is from Greenville News. It doesn't say when it's written. We have time to do nothing. A civil lawsuit against the estate of Christina Parcell and her fiancé Bradley Post accuses them of assault and battery, intentionally infliction of emotional distress, negligence, and invasion of privacy that harmed a juvenile relative in Parcell's care. The lawsuit filed on August 23rd by Alison Sutherland, the guardian ad litem of the juvenile, claims Parcell and Post engaged in illegal and sexual explicit acts for the purpose of exploiting the juvenile and that they disseminated sexual explicit videos and photographs of the juvenile for personal gain. Sutherland was petitioned to become the guardian ad litem on August 15, 2022. So is that the lady we just had there? That can't be that one. No, this must be her half-sister. Richard Davies, who is representing the plaintiffs, declined to comment about the case. So that's Post 66 of Greenville, who was Parcell's partner at the time, was arrested and charged with multiple offenses of sexual exploitation of a minor, arrest warrant says. Parcell's estate and Post are also named in another lawsuit filed on March 17th by a mother who said her child was a victim in the photographs and videos on Post's phone. Her child and the juvenile in the latest suit often spent time together under the supervision of Parcell, the lawsuit alleges. Greenville County Sheriff's Office discovered photographs and videos of a number of children, including the Parcell's juvenile relative, undressed in sexual explicit positions. The photos and videos was taken over a number of years, according to the lawsuit filed by Sutherland. Sutherland was informed and believed the photographs and videos of the juvenile was taken by, with, and or in the presence of Post and Parcell. The photos and videos was duplicated to other electronic devices. The lawsuit alleges Parcell and Post placed the child in reasonable fear of bodily harm, physical abuse, and sexual assault. The suit also alleges Parcell and Post engaged in the child and other children in unlawful sexual acts, exploiting the child for personal or financial benefit, failing to provide a safe environment, and failing to report CA. Calls were not immediately returned from Charles Marchbanks, Jr., attorney for the estate of Christina Parcell. Neither emails nor calls were returned from Joshua Kendrick, attorney for Post. The lawsuit is asking for an unspecified actual and punitive damages. So this is the backdrop that we now are waiting for the judge to make a decision. Did they kick in the door by talking so much about investigating her and everything was great and she was the best parent to have the kids stay with? Because this lady, I understand why Mello was angry at her. She clearly didn't do her job. She clearly didn't do her job. Yep. Yeah, that was just a paragraph saying he was charged with unaliving and possession of a deadly weapon. He was retired. He had sold his business, but we didn't know what business. Yeah, because they had Taco Tuesday. And then they had... no, I'm not going to say that because she was that young. How young was she at the time? Was she 4 or 5 years old or something? 6 years? Yeah. But this just shows this social worker or guardian ad litem, who's probably paid a handsome penny, is no better than that CPS worker who went and saw Harmony Montgomery sitting in a car with her druggy parents and said, yeah, she's doing fine. Nothing wrong here. She shouldn't have a license. She should be sued. She gave this poor child to monsters. If what is alleged in that lawsuit is true, she should be sued because this woman placed that poor child in that house. She even stated it was the best for her, that it made her thrive, that she grew so much. She should be charged with neglect. She should be charged with I don't know what. Yeah, I'll be better. I'm just coughing a bit. It's been a long day. It's 11:30 almost, so I'm a little bit used. Yeah, there was years of pictures and video evidence, so it's not just something. I don't know what you can do to her, but it should be done. And I understand how, well, they didn't treat me nice. I understand why they didn't treat you nice. Judge ruled the child abuse material will not come in. It's not relevant to the trial, and the guardian made the determination of recommending the kid be placed with her mom based on information she had at the time. Defense proffers the guardian and has her say no, knowing what she knows now, would she have removed the child from Christina immediately? That's so effing out up. That's so effed up. He is the fiance. The fiance who met her when she was 20 years old and he was 49. Who had thousands of pictures. And this judge kept out that he had mistreated this poor girl because it's not relevant. But it's relevant for this case, how Mr. Mello acted in Italy. Go F yourself, judge. You're just as corrupt as all the other, well, not all the others. There are good judges out there, but jeepers, there's a lot of corrupt assholes who got to wear a cape. Jesus, he's not getting a fair trial. That's why are they allowed to bring in Italy, the custody battles in Italy? That has nothing to do with this. But the CP has, no, that's too far. Let's talk about how we were afraid to have her outside of the house because a monster could come and grab her. But no, can't talk about that she was banged inside that house, along with the friends that, oh, she was making friends, she was doing well. I hope you'll end up in the hottest pits of hell. All you people who just automatically says, well, it's always the best place with the mother. Really hope when it's your turn, you will forever listen to the screams of small children that you allowed to be violated because, it'll be fine. I don't want to do my job. I'm just going to get my paycheck. May that be your torment in hell for eternity. I hate people like this. They get all the power in the world to change people's lives, and they don't give a. They only look at the numbers on their paycheck, and then they like to sit at fancy dinners and say, I help kids. I'm a hero. I just can't have it. I hate it. I really. It doesn't touch me one bit that she's unalived. Don't give 2 cents about it. It's just I'm grifting off of people dying. I know it. I'm a horrible person. But allowing this to happen to your kids, and then, like someone said sometime ago in Texas, some people need a little killing. You probably did. It's really not a good case. Yeah, and that's total BS, because at the same time they're using the father to paint in a certain way, and he has nothing to do with this defendant that they have proven so far. And whatever custody battle they had in Italy, oh, and we arrived, and she was an unaccompanied minor, and they asked me to look after her. Well, what does that have to do with this case? Prove this case, this guy did it. Your co-lead detective lied about his hoodie. Oh, it's very important because it's the same hoodie. No, it wasn't. We proved that. We had 2 pictures and we could clearly see it wasn't the same. But you want to keep out thousands of pictures of CP because it could be it's more prejudicial than probative. No, this lady just said my decision was the best decision because that's the best thing for this poor little girl. You put her under the bed with the monsters. You didn't do your job. You didn't look at anything. I hired a PI for the first time. Well, then you should fire that PI and get your money back because they didn't catch anything either. I don't know if you want to take the stand. Can they imply something? No, he was out of the country. Again, I want to see what they have linking those two together. But he will probably get a gag order from the judge being told you can't talk about it. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, do that for me too. Yes, the unalived person used her own daughter to make CP that she sold to other people or distributed to other people. Her own daughter. That was put in her house by that smiling she-demon we just saw. Because that was clearly the best. They had Taco Tuesday. Go F yourself. Yeah, she was thriving because she was eating sushi and avocados. Yeah. Yeah, but they're not allowed to bring it in. Even though they were allowed to talk shit about the dad, who has potentially lost his head communicating with a government worker who had her head up her ass. Yeah, we are crossed 3 hours. I can say a lot of bad stuff now. It's close to midnight. It's after dark now, and Baker's swear box has closed. This human trash rocket that we just saw on the stand, who was smiling every time she said something, got to disparage the dad. She put this kid in a home where she was sexually molested. And she's still sitting there. It was my decision. She thrived. She had play dates. She rode a bike. Yeah, and she got effed by her mom's fiance, who was 60 years older. Is it still the right decision? Do you still feel good about it? Or do you go home every single night and before you put your bubbly little head with the stupid smile on, do you kneel beside your bed and say, please forgive me. I did this to you. I will never live with this shame. Every day for the rest of my life, I will beg you to forgive me because I did this to you. Or do you just go home with your fancy glasses and sit and say, I helped another child today because I'm a good person. I hate people like her. Those effing phonies. Jemima, don't update me because then I'm going to read and then we're going to watch it and then I already know what's happening and then I get angry and I'll start yelling beforehand. They did object. They just had a sidebar discussing all of this. I think Little D, I sent her some of the Disneyland After Dark stuff. Well, I can't do that. There's still some limits to my First Amendment rights. If you can't figure out what CP is, go think about it when there's a kid involved and I'm getting really angry. Tested cocaine. You met your dad after you were married. I met with him once a week. Mom lied my whole life. Yeah, and sadly that's how it is a lot of times because the state will keep you away from them. I believe in Denmark it's 95% of all custody cases goes to the mom because the mom is always best. Always. Even when she uses her daughter and her daughter's friend to make CP. I don't mind she got gutted like a fish. I'm sorry to say it. I really don't mind. That's why we have Lord Chippy. He should get way more exercise than he's getting.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing? Yes.
When did you first meet Maureen?
This is in the summer of 14.
And where did you meet her?
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about the jury.
Okay. Do you remember any description as far as the size of these men?
Yeah, I remember the size of them. I know I could tell by the Swayzer who the one was, by meeting him different times up there at Paula's. I knew Swayzer is, get that word right, Swayzer?
Okay. I don't know what that word means, so I'm sorry.
Oh, his style, his walk, his talk.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
I like turtles.
I needed to calm down a bit. I think I need an adult beverage because I'm yelling a lot today. It's because Jamie left me. Yeah, Swayzer is from rder, a guy who moved to Florida in the 80s, who cuts grass at the local golf course. Then he goes home. Then he went to a hangout place called the Treehouse, where he drank Bud Light and smoked crack. He never touched the devil's letters. Well, she's not on camera anymore, so she doesn't. She's probably just sitting, frolicking in her front room. Yeah, I think everyone is kind of yelling at the. I hate this judge because they are allowed to destroy other people's. Yeah, it's kind of like the people who said that Colin Griffith's dad should have been named as the person he unalived. It's kind of the same here. That I would think it's more appropriate in this case than in the Colin Griffith case. But I still believe he should have had it for the second degree. Oh, someone is hitting the high numbers. Strangers in the night, exchanging glances. Lovers in the night, taking chances. La da 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 da. Who knew this case would go in that direction? Paula B. When I picked it up, I thought it sounded interesting with the rose petals and the ritualistic stuff and a pianist and some weird divorce case. And then we got to the CP stuff. And then I got really, really angry because I hate CP stuff. It's one of the things that I've always said, if anything happened to my girls, I'm happy we only get 10 years in Denmark for doing stuff like this. But it's just infuriating. Infuriating. Oh my. Oh my. Online Reddit's having a good day. I would love a good spaghetti dinner. It's been a long time since... normally when we catch a case, I'll fill my freezer with just tons of spaghetti and meat sauce so I can pop it in the microwave. But I'm trying to get to the bottom of my freezer so I can defrost it. But yeah, then I stream 7 days a week and I don't have time to do it. But I'm taking Saturday off because Sunday I have to go to the baptism, so I need to get all the stuff done I haven't done because I've streamed too much. So no Stabby Day this Sunday, sadly. Well, he's either a mentee or a friend or someone who helped him. They haven't established how they know each other yet. Yeah, this would be something that happened because you got enraged because of something. You could probably get it down to 8 years. Seem to pick the best cases. Well, tell more friends about it because my numbers are the lowest of everyone. Everyone else is on that baby case. I really don't like that case. Well, we are happy to have you here, Farrell. Yeah, we're gonna have a baptism, and then I think we're gonna be 56 guests for dinner. And that's a lot. But almost my entire family. My sister can't make it, but the rest of my family is going to be there. It's going to be nice seeing all of them again. And the idiot that lives with my daughter's family is going to be there. They're nice folks as well. And probably going to meet some more of his extended family. And then my ex-wife. Yay. Yeah, he's almost 4 months old now. She just sent me a video while we were sitting here streaming, where he was they were practicing turning over, and because he can't control his arms, so he just had one arm under his body, and he ended up just face palming the mattress. So said, "Why didn't you?" Well, I fixed it the other time. Yeah, sure. We get new people in, but they are psychos that might have to ban and time out and stuff like last week. Oh, only 1 or 2 people. It was one person last week I had to yell at, and then they went on Twitter and called me an authoritarian. I probably am. I'm an asshole. Haven't banned someone in... Before that was back in the beginning of January when they called me a racist. So I haven't really... I don't ban a lot of people. I'll time you out if I don't like what you're saying, but I don't ban people. You have to be a really idiot to do it. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo is current as what will Kathy say? She will say something funny even though it's a tragical case. She's great. No wonder you're grumpy. Today I'm angry, I'm not grumpy. It's not nice to plug on other channels. Thank you for the concern, but it's not nice to go on other people's channel and say, hey, instead of watching this one, you should go watch on... But if anyone talks to you about where do you watch Charles, you could say, hey, I know this fat fuck from Denmark. Time went so fast. Yeah, his mother could fit on my underarm just yesterday. And now she sends me a picture of her little baby boy. No. He's young. He watches TikToks. He's an idiot. Yeah, and it doesn't help because if you start giving them what they want, it's just to get the interaction and have you go crazy. And again, as I always say, you have those little 3 dots, you can just hide user, and you'll only see it if I pull them up on screen. It's a great way to get out of it. Sometimes you lose some people, sometimes you get some people in, and some people might not like what other people say, but again, as long as you keep it kind of clean, I don't mind. I'm not a big proponent of I get to determine what you're allowed to say. As long as you... Because I can look at chat and think, that's weird. But as long as you're not attacking other people or talking badly about other people, it's fine. If you don't think that Zach is funny, which he isn't, or you think sometimes Brandon goes a step too far, it's fine. Just relax and calm down, and everything will be hunky-dory. Yeah, but you're a mean person. You're like Jamie. And your wife bans people all the time. Why would you do that? That's about the worst beer we have in Denmark. Well, at least the worst beer maker in Denmark. Now, it can't be total dicks, but you can be a dick. Zach is allowed to be here. You say and ask these type of questions, they hide my speech. What questions? Yeah, he's a mean one. Yeah, live and let live. And again, it doesn't hurt you if someone have a differing opinion or saying something that, like earlier when someone said it wasn't nice to make fun of people's looks. We do it all the time. It's okay. Like that guy who wrote me on Twitter the other day and called me a fat cunt. Yeah, that's fine. I call myself that all the time. Yeah, Marissa, please go out, touch the grass. No. I didn't even know there was any new wavelength software out there. Well, someone clearly didn't like you. And Vidal, it's only 3%. Little D's are allowed and live among us. Yeah, Little D is a nice person. Well, everyone should have Zach blocked. Woohoo! Judge is back. Well, it was on Twitter. He thought I was. Again, don't give people the ability to hurt you with words. Words are just wind. It doesn't matter. You know who you are, and yes, sometimes you think, that's not nice. And then you say, but Marissa is like that all the time. When you wake up in the morning, when I wake up and I check my Discord tabs, I see Marissa calling me bad things again. She is so mean, and she got Jemima there too, and they are always racking on me. When I wake up. Nope, you have to wait, because apparently I'm looking, Jemima sent me some clips for half an hour ago, and we are on a half-hour delay. They started cross-examination, so it's 1:45. No, I wish you would only call me that. It's all the other things. Well, some people, you just have to use the right words for some people. I have trigger words as well. Amongst it, when you call me a misogynist, because I'm a father of 2 wonderful women that I have raised to be strong, independent women and taught them that they can do whatever they set their mind to. So, yeah, you can get kicked out if you go down that route. Or if you call me a racist. I'll allow it a little bit and then I'll kick you out. But other than that, words are just wind. I think this is a bot that tries to sell me something over on Twitch, because I don't game on Twitch. I don't game. I'm the only LawTube who doesn't game. Thank you, expert. I'll do it in the morning if I ever get to bed. I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more just to be with once outside your door. Come on, Judge. No hugs. Hugs are not necessary. Just sat through Melanie Little for too long, listening to her go over the new read papers. Yeah, there's a lot out today. I tried to do a video about it earlier before this morning's video started. And while I did it, Marissa and Jemima was sending me new motions. So I just, no, I'm not going to do a quick video about it because it's just too much today. You were at school with the Proclaimers. Oh, cool. No, don't hug Farrell. She'll get instantly pregnant. Yeah, you can go watch all of the new filings in Care and Read. Maybe I'll have time to go through them. I don't know how this case went, but there's a lot of filings. Most of it is. One of them is very funny. It's the motion to exclude the dog behaviorist because they constantly mention his methodology is incorrect. Don't make you do what again? What did I miss? Well, you are as fertile as the ground. Oh yeah, they're having arguments next week. On Tuesday next week, we'll see all the arguments. So I'll let all the other people read. Apparently, Aiden is having one of the jury members on his stream this week, I believe. I just saw it with one eye, so I'm not sure. But that's interesting. Apparently one of the jury members who reached out to Christina Ross, and talked about how, but their argument was learning what they learned after. And that's not really, that's one of the things that, yeah, but you didn't know it at trial, so it shouldn't affect your judgment. And that's, I don't like that argument because then they will just say, well, you didn't learn it and it wasn't part of the trial. Yeah, but if you read the motion that is that's attached to, I think every third word is methodology in that one. Yeah, maybe we'll catch up on. There's so many filings, but again, we'll have a motion hearing on Tuesday at, I think it's 9 a.m. I think I meant about the process, like they could ask questions or do a split verdict, not the facts. Yeah, but again, everything you say is taken in the context that you want to take it in, and that'll just be used kind of like when AJ said, yeah, I talked to him about that guy coming up and doing the video, and Bev said, well, then you can't get a refund because they will take it in the light most favorable for the state. Are we ever coming back? Shouldn't we have been back yet? They've been out for over an hour. They were supposed to have been back at, what time is this? Yeah, they should have been back. They're about to come back. Oh, yeah, they're about to come back. I don't know. I don't know any of the names of the jurors, so I don't know anything. Monday is a holiday. Why? President's Day. Why is that a holiday? No, we already know because Pretty Lies and Alibis are in the courtroom. He will not grant them the right to do it. And I will walk 500 more just to be the guy that walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your floor. Come on. When do you celebrate Brent Franklin, the first and greatest president you ever had? La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Oh, my sister, no, a tambourine, no tambourines. My sister used to be a trombone, play a trombone. That's almost a tambourine. Bum 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 bum. Bum ba dum bum bum. Bum ba dum bum bum. Bum ba dum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. That's a good celebration. Or even know 3 facts each about whatever President's Day it is. Well, it's Lincoln's birthday. He was born in Illinois, I believe Springfield, maybe in Illinois. He wore a stovepipe hat. He was a lawyer before he became a president. You want to know more? Again, I know more about your own history than you do. Odele-hee-hoo, odele-hee-hoo, odele-odele-odele-odele-hee-hoo. Do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. I'm not gonna sing Aqua. You know, I don't sing on request. Oh, we have court audio. So I can go grab myself a whiskey. I'm fine. I just need my whiskey to get to bed on. If they would just start. Odele-hee-hee, odele-hee-hoo, odele-odele-odele-hee-hoo. No, I've seen the sign in Illinois that says home state of Lincoln. Anne-Marie. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, Anne-Marie. I'm just gonna have a glass of whiskey. Yeah. Well, then it's not his home state. Sometimes I'm yodeling, yeah. What? I don't know. Who? What? Am I looking at Rumple Rants? I don't know if Rumple Rants shows up in a specific way. Oh, I got a Rumple Rant. It doesn't show up in my StreamYard, so I can't put it on screen. But thank you so much, Slidey Pie. What is the name of the woman who was the child ad litem? That was Alison Sutherland. Thank you so much, Slidey Pie.
All right, Mr. Mormon.
Thank you. I'm going to take the course. Mr. Corbo, just a few questions.
It's gonna be short.
On direct examination, you testified, I believe that as part of your job as a guardian ad litem was to familiarize yourself with the course of litigation and prior cases. Is that correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that based on your review of the history of the case and the litigation, there had been at least 3 prior cases. Is that correct?
Yes, that sounds right.
And isn't it true that in each of the cases, Christina Parcell agreed to give John Mello custody? Isn't that true?
That's my understanding.
You were asked a little bit about John Mello and Ida being in Italy. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And as part of your duties as the guardian ad litem during this period, was it your obligation to familiarize yourself just a little bit with what was going on with the litigation in Italy?
With the Hague Convention?
And just in general terms, what the status was of the litigation, what the outcome was?
Yes, I was following that. Yes.
Based on your interaction with Christina during this period, what was your understanding as to who was financing the litigation in Italy?
I'm not sure. I know her sister was helping. I think she bought the plane tickets. I don't think she had an attorney. I think she was self-representing or whatever you do with the Hague Convention. But
did you also think it was possible that Mr. Post was financing litigation?
maybe part of the family court litigation, maybe. But as far as being in Italy and that part, he may have paid.
We only mentioned the defendant today when we saw the pictures, and that he might have sent some emails and some envelopes from Knoxville.
For bodyguards while she was there.
Well, this woman put a 5-year-old kid in a house with a mother who's now stabulated to 31 times, who used that kid to make CP. So she is guilty.
I think I heard something about that, but I don't know for sure, and I don't want to misspeak.
Understand. But you think he was helping finance litigation in the States?
Possibly. I've definitely heard that.
Your Honor, I don't have anything else. We would ask Ms. Cornwell to remain under subpoena.
You don't have anything else?
Okay. Any redirect?
Nothing from the state.
Okay. You may step down.
Thank you.
Quick witness.
No, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you again. Sometimes
Did we
I have
just
to
wait?
ask you to step out just because I have certain matters that I need to take up with the attorneys, and if you weren't here, I wouldn't do it, you know, so, or if you were in here, I would not be able to get into all those details. And I just, again, want to thank you. I told you I sound like a broken record, but again, I just can't stress how important it is that you are prohibited from watching any TV coverage, any type of news, and just for the integrity of this trial, justice and fairness to the defendant and the state, that you are only to consider the evidence that comes in through this courtroom, and again, not to discuss it among yourselves or anybody, okay? We will be back at 9:30 in the morning, and again, I am so grateful for each and every one of you for your service.
You should be grateful for us because we stuck to this for your 40 minutes of diatribe about, well, not diatribe, just your BS. Yeah, why? I know they lost that they couldn't talk about the CP, but they could have done more. Do you have any proof that this guy did anything? Okay. It's like that sketch from SNL with Jennifer, Megan Fox, and the captain said we're losing an engine. Okay, keep calm. I would have liked to see the proffer and her face when she said it. Yes, sadly it wasn't there. I believe the door was kicked open when she started talking about all the stuff she talked about. But nope, no, it's totally cromulent. You are 100% allowed to imply that that this guy did it, and the kid. Well, there's no really any connection to any of it, but yeah, he might have sent some mail from Knoxville. It could have been the expert or maybe Volstorm who sent some mail from Knoxville. Why not even ask if she had any indication that it was this kid? I really don't know what they're going with or where they are going to. It's I have a big problem with the defense in this case. I don't think they're fighting hard enough. Maybe they'll do like the Sarah Boone case where we didn't feel the state did it good enough, and then they just swung for the fences on redirect. But I don't feel they take any wind out of the sail of any witness. I don't know. I ain't a big fan. If we didn't know if we didn't hear opening statements, we wouldn't know that Zachary was the guy charged. I would think it was Mello. So it's been all about Mello and all about the relationship. It has had nothing to do with this kid. So, and again, the state, the way they run everything out of order is very confusing. I'm standing here thinking about doing my update tomorrow, and it's gonna be very confusing. I'm probably gonna yell a little bit, but at least I got my adult beverage. I've been becoming quite fond of rye. This is a wild turkey. But a day again where there's a lot of trust me, it's the same guy on these pictures, bro. The house didn't make any sense to me when we saw it with the locks on the door that he just walked in. The guy on the bike didn't look like the guy in the woods. The defense just doesn't attack it well enough. They don't get the jury to think about it. That's my problem. My problem is they don't because you have to get in the jury's head, get them to think. They have to sit like I did today in court and thought, oh, rose petals. Oh, American Beauty. CP. Went down the lying throat, as we say in Denmark. Everyone, it's midnight. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin. You should turn into Mo. I'm going to send you all over to Mo. And you should turn in again tomorrow at 10. We're going to start at 10 again tomorrow because court is on delay. So everyone, go enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you in the morning. And tell your friends, tell your family, and bring some more people. We could be more.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All
right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.